The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer inebriation is advised, though not mandatory.
Good evening, happy Friday. I do hope you enjoyed your Independence Day if you're here in the States, Ungrateful Colonial Treason Day if you're in the UK and Greater British Territories, and just a great week otherwise. Welcome to Last Call, where tonight we resume our chat about urban legends we have found interesting. We kind of cut Boomer short last time, but this time we are joined by very special subject matter expert Nick of Beyond the Hub podcast. This last call is going to be legendary. So get comfortable, top off your glasses, tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, and we'll get this Canarble Wagon rolling right now.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Vasalud, thank you for putting up with me. I'd forgotten to upload my opening monologue, and I worked hard on it, so I wanted to make sure you guys all got a chance to see it. So let me know what you're sipping on in the chat. Of course, you guys may have guessed what I'm sipping on.
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
Yes, sir.
And of course, I'm not actually having a Vesper Martini, although I do have Gordon's and Quinoa Lillet, but no vodka. As you guys know, I don't see the point of vodka. All it does is dilute the gin, so it's 4 measures of Gordon for me. And instead of a lemon peel, I went with a feta cheese stuffed olive. Well, 2 actually. And as you know, I never shake and thereby bruise the gin. Well, aerate, if you want to be technical. So we'll have to come up with a new name for the kind of martini I like. Not a Vesper Martini, maybe a Netter Martini. How's that? Speaking of Netter, let's get her in here. My lovely dear, how are you, my sweetheart? And what are you sipping on? I messed it up, well. Didn't I?
What? Okay. I forgot to take the bad pineapple rum out of the refrigerator, the one that I think tastes nasty. So Trey, bless his heart, I love him. He made me a drink with the coconut rum that was in the fridge that I forgot to take out, and my cranberry grape juice. So it is a Netter's Nectar. And I'm sipping it slowly because it's got a weird aftertaste with these. Was it Smirnoff?
It's
Bacardi.
It's Bacardi.
Yeah, the Bacardi rum it's got a weird aftertaste.
Yeah.
And I can actually
smell it. Not a sponsored
it.
stream, by the way, guys. Just saying what we enjoy.
And when I go to take a sip, I can smell it. So it's got this odor that I don't care for. Whereas with the Malibu, which is my preferred. So if any of y'all want to buy me a drink, remember, it's Malibu.
There you go.
It's like, it tastes good. It doesn't have a weird aftertaste. It tastes very pineapple-y to me. And it doesn't have a weird smell. So, yep, if y'all want to buy me a drink, remember, it's a Malibu rum.
Yep, fair enough. Thanks. Sorry. Now I will know. Let's get rid of the Bacardi and bring the Malibu front and center.
Yes. That reminds me. Alexa, add Malibu rum to the shopping list.
Malibu rum added.
There we go.
There you go. Actually, you should have added it to the Binny's list, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. Yeah, so since I am front-loading, I better get my designated driver in here. Age Boomer, how you doing, my friend? What are you sipping on?
I'm doing fine. I just have an unsweet tea tonight.
You have to work in the morning.
In the morning, but I'll be fine.
It's a school night for you, so you can't.
Yes,
you can't imbibe.
I can't imbibe.
Mr. Yes. Landella's Groovy Movie said, "How about calling it a baby Klingon?"
A baby Klingon.
Your drink.
I like that.
Your drink is a baby Klingon.
I'll think about that. I do have a Star Trek drinks taste test coming up in the near future. But you guys, we all know what you're really here for. You're here for our special guest tonight. So let's just get him on in here. Nick from Beyond the Hub podcast. How are you doing tonight, my friend? And what are you sipping on?
I am doing well. I got a cherry Pepsi Zero Sugar. And
You know
else.
what? I don't usually buy the cherry Pepsi, but it is the superior flavor to the cherry Coke.
Oh, yeah.
I've believed that for years. It's just got more of that cherry flavor to it. You know what I mean?
It does.
But good stuff, my friend. Good stuff. That is awesome. Let's say hi to the chat real quick. By the way, I do have Beyond the HUD podcasts channel. The link is pinned to the top. I would appreciate if you'd right-click on that. Go ahead and subscribe. If you aren't already, I know many of you already are, because he was on last month with Netter, and I know we share subscribership, but in case you haven't, trust me, you're going to love the channel. I don't have guests on here that aren't people that I already enjoy and subscribe to myself. And so if you are subscribed to me, you're probably going to like the people I subscribe to. So I really recommend you definitely subscribe to Beyond the Hub podcast. Let's say hi to FKHC 2005, often known as Tim. Salute. Hail. Welcome, my friend. Since there are things that we... Oh, wait a minute. I always found this stuff interesting, since there are things that we can't explain. Well, Tim, you should definitely be subscribed to Beyond the Hub podcast. No doubt about that. David Pensek, last call with Troy Pacelli, the best part of the week. Thank you. That is what I aim for on Fridays. It is often, after a long work week, it's been a brutal week. I look forward to all of you. That's what I look forward to. Including Netter of Netter's Network. I love you too, sweetie.
It's like every morning I look forward to getting a hug from my sweetie.
I look forward to waking up. Because she wakes me up with a kiss. That's why. Come on. Mark Melnikoff. Nuknach. Kapla. I claim this space in the chat in the name of the Klingon Empire. Klingon ma Tachjaj. Yes. We are Klingons. Let it always be so. Yes, Mark and I and Netter, we belong to the same Klingon group here in the Chicago area. Let's see here. Connie Cleary, hail to the chat. Absolutely. Welcome. I see you guys saying hi to each other, which is always very encouraging to me. Greetings and felicitations. Hip hip hurrah and tally-ho! Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. Great channel for some great movie rewatches. Yes.
Is felicitation dirty?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be, especially after a few drinkies. Enigma Severus. Legend has it that Chuck Norris permits the moon to reflect the sun.
I believe that, yes.
Absolutely. You know, Chuck Norris, how old? He's in his 80s now? And man, that guy's in better shape than I am. Let me tell you. He deserves all the accolades that the memes give him. I got to tell you. Big L raid. Yes, Big L was hanging out with Deleted Scenes. They were watching Dragonheart. I know that was an awesome stream. I hope you guys had a lot of fun, my friend. Speaking of Deleted Scenes, salute, my friend. Good to see you. There's that Age of Boomer guy. Yeah, keep an eye on that little guy. Trying to clean up my language here, so I'm watching myself. Oh, by the way, this is off topic, but seeing David in the chat, I want to bring this up. Boomer, we had a stream a couple months back.
Yes.
I believe the name of the stream was oh gosh, what was it? I don't wanna misquote it. It was like lesbian vampires trope, or
yes, that was in Halloween time.
Oh yeah, that was
Yes.
it was almost 6 months ago.
Yes,
so it
I
was
talked about
trope or archetype, and we talked about
yes.
a bunch of great foreign horror films.
And you did some local ones too, but I did Hammers. I think I did.
You did some Italian films.
Yeah, I did.
and so
I did one
forth.
called Vampires. Vampyres. I think.
Right,
that's how
right.
it's called.
Well, I got a direct message from deleted scenes from David Pensack, and he was asking, did we do any other streams where we talked about foreign horror films? And I was like, that's the kind of thing Boomer would remember.
Yes, we did a stream on. You were doing stuff like we were looking for. If you're getting tired of the modern entertainment, go look to other countries. And I think I did Italy for like foreign language. So I was talking about giallo, horror, and also
that's right. Okay, so
movies.
David,
Yes.
let me I was going to say after the stream, but really after I sober up, maybe tomorrow, I'll go back to my list of videos. I know the exact ones that Boomer's talking about, and I'll shoot you some links.
Yes.
So he said he's putting together a list of foreign horror films to check out. And I'm like, yes, Boomer is the guy to talk to about that.
Just go with, well, I don't know if England counts as foreign, but a lot of good English horror movies. Also a lot of great Italian
It's not a foreign
movies.
language, but depends on how rich the British is. You know.
Well, many of the Italian ones, not that I want to get us off track, but many of the Italian horror movies were also dubbed in English by the Italian producers because they wanted these things to be shown in other countries.
True.
They would just dub them wherever they went. So you can watch them in English. It's as the director, it's as the people that made it intended for you to watch it in this case. Yes.
Sir Torrin Clegane, welcome, my friend, and Evelyn Hampton, another Klingon from the Chicagoland area. Chapla nuch neige. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're feeling well, Evelyn. I know you've been having some issues. I'm sure we all do. Enigma is drinking water. It would be coffee, but just water. Well, you know, what is coffee but water with bean juice in it? Nate, Geek Flag with Nate Knows, 1973. Bonjour, welcome. Let's see here. Don't want to miss nobody. Just had to remove rum from my shopping list. Well, I hope that's because you already picked some up and you didn't need to. The original Cherry Coke was so much better, but considering I have not had a soft drink in about 3 years, the mass amount of sugar is repulsive to me now. Well, Nick and I are of course talking about the zero sugar stuff because who needs the extra calories? And besides, if you're gonna have a caloried sugared drink, it should have real sugar in it, not that corn syrup crap.
Yeah.
The taste is different. I mean, anyone who's ever had Mexican Coke knows the difference, or anyone who's of a certain age and remembers what things used to taste like when they had real sugar in them.
I believe that Pepsi will put out an actual sugar soda called Pepsi Throwback. I don't know if they've done it recently, but they used to. I think it was also because of
I had picked up a bunch of Pepsi Throwback because I used to host D&D games here. And
it might have been because it was also deemed kosher, so they would release it at Passover time, I think. Yeah. Sorry.
There's a reason that high fructose corn syrup is not kosher. Just saying. Just saying. Curtis Selby, welcome. Thank you for the Tired Blogger raid. And, of course, Matt Cheatwood, good evening, my friend. It's good to see you. It's kind of encouraging to see all of y'all who are here as members. You guys have been with me for so long, and now you're members. You guys are awesome. Not recognizing this name, but I'm so glad to have you here. Marble ZZZZ44.
Yeah, that's my fiance.
I'll bet that's... Is that pronounced Marbles 4?
Yeah.
44? Marbles 44.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yes, congratulations. Very congratulations. That's a great icon. I'm just playing around, but she is lovely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, Chuck Norris heard it. Hell, he's probably the one who caused it to fall. He just probably snapped his fingers and it fell right over.
It's like if a bear craps in the wood, does it make a smell or something? Or I don't know if I might be misquoting that.
Jesse Green 619, hello all, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see here. Bear with me, I'm way behind. No foreign horror movie list is complete without at least 2 Mexican wrestling versus vampire movies. Yes, I have to agree. I saw one once. I don't even remember the name of it. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up as quickly as I can. For the Klingons here, I'm proud to announce the producer of that fan production picked up everything today and awarded me a second run of props and certain items to be cast in resin. Kapla. You know, nice. Mark, you make comments like that, and I know you're being purposely ambiguous, and I want to share with everybody what you're alluding to, and I can't because there hasn't been an official announcement yet. But when there is, you let me know so I can talk about it on my channel and start hyping it up. I gotta tell you. And yes, that is awesome news. Chuck Norris made Troy bald because he knew Troy would be more attractive. I had a joke planned that I couldn't figure out how to fit in naturally. I was going to say that Nick is half of the Beyond the Hub podcast. He's the better looking half because I am jealous of his full head of hair. But that's the only reason. All right, let's get into this. I think I've said hi to everybody.
All right.
You know what? I think I have spent this whole first 20 minutes chatting, and I'm almost all the way through my my martini, so I need a refill. So let's get to this. So, as you guys know, we had set out to do an Urban Legends chat, and Boomer just went crazy with it. He put together a slideshow. He had all this list of things he wanted to talk about. And unfortunately, we got to talking so much, we only got about halfway through it, and we had to cut him off.
Yes.
So we're doing a part 2, and I was like, holy crap, you know, Netter got to interview Nick from Beyond the Hub, and this is exactly right up his alley. And it's like, how did we not think to invite him for the first half? Nick, did you get a chance to check out the first half? The Urban Legends that we talked about in the first run?
Yeah, I saw the majority of it.
Oh, excellent.
I missed a few parts because I just...
No.
Yeah.
So you got the gist of it and
Got the
whatnot.
gist.
Boomer, do you want to do a quick run through?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like
You want
just
to
the
bring my presentation up?
Oh, you've already thought ahead of me.
Well, no, I'm not thought ahead. I just didn't bother editing the other things out.
Oh,
And,
okay. So we'll just run
And
through. Yeah.
that's a nice comment, but if you could remove that as well. All right. Thank you.
This is why he's here.
This is from early June, so I guess about a month ago. Can I go? Okay, here we go. Slides. Vanishing Hitchhiker. By the way, all these images were made with AI.
Yes, they were.
I don't know if I should pat myself on the back or not because I didn't really make them, but
no
copyright worries.
The thumbnail for tonight's stream I did with AI, and like the previous one, I have hidden. Well, not hidden. They're right there in plain sight. I allude to Urban Legends in that thumbnail.
Okay. So here we go. We got the Vanishing Hitchhiker there. We did that. That's an all-one. Choking Doberman. That's also made with AI.
Right.
Look at that. The Italian neighbor next door who probably involved with the mafia.
I did like that one. I'd never heard it before, but I did like that.
There are a lot of mafia urban legends. It's nuts. Of course, the Southern Fried Rat.
Yes.
Which of course is a famous one. By the way, I love that chicken. You got hungry seeing this. This is
I'm
AI
telling
chicken.
you, that looks like KFC to me, my friend, and it
Some
does make me
drumsticks.
hungry, you bastard.
And of course, this is an English urban legend, but
Yes.
about the gnomes that go on vacation and leave notes behind and stuff. Yes, so
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
English.
And
So
I think I mentioned about the real world stealing people's gnomes and taking pictures of them and in different vacation spots and sending them back. Yeah.
All right. So should I get to the next one, or do you want me to just jump into the next one, or do you want me to wait a minute?
No, go ahead.
All right. Let's see if our guest knows what this might be. Do you know what the picture is of, by the way?
Is that a mix between a Chihuahua or something?
There we go. The AI worked. Okay. Why is Beyond the Hub an urban legend? Oh my gosh, the ghosts on his disc makes sense.
Enigma, make sure you subscribe to Beyond the Hub, and you'll understand why he's here. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm just going to read you. This is from a book titled Urban Legends by Thomas Crogwell. I'm reading from that one. And 666.
Oh, I think I know this one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think I know this one.
666 absolutely true stories that happened to a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend. Okay, it's confusing. I'll just read this is called The Mexican Pet.
Yep.
A woman from Colorado was on vacation in San Diego when she decided to take a day trip to Tijuana, Mexico. Okay. She didn't enjoy herself much. The town was noisy, the traffic was terrible, and the shops were filled with cheap trinkets. She was about to get in her car and go back to San Diego when she saw a tiny gray creature hiding behind a dumpster. "What a darling little Chihuahua puppy," she said to herself. "The poor thing looks lost and hungry." She dug around in her purse for a mint and offered it to the animal. It crept out.
Yeah, exactly.
It crept out from behind the dumpster.
Well, because dogs have bad breath, right?
Okay, let me finish this. Anyway, it crept out from behind the dumpster and took the mint from the woman's hand. It was dirty and had no collar, so the woman assumed that no one owned it. "I think I'll have to take you home with me," she said. "I'll call you Pancho." She picked him up, put him in the back seat of her car, and drove back to San Diego. In the hotel, she gave Pancho a bath and ordered him a hamburger from room service. She went to a pet store and bought a cardboard carry-on box so she could take Pancho with her on the plane. Back home in Fort Collins, the woman took Pancho to a veterinarian for his shots and a checkup. "So what do we have here?" the vet asked, pointing to the cardboard box. As she opened the box, the woman said, "Doctor, I rescued the sweetest little Mexican Chihuahua when I was in Tijuana." The vet glanced in the box and stepped back. "Lady, I'm afraid what you rescued is a little Mexican rat."
Yup.
You like that one?
I have heard that one before, yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
There are many different variations. Some have it foaming at the mouth, and it has rabies, and it bit one of her children, that usual thing. And I thought it was a chupacabra. That's a cryptid. That'll be for, I guess, a future stream, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, unless... yeah, so the
honestly, it's funny because completely unrelated to this urban legend, whenever we see a Chihuahua, Netter always goes, "Oh, those little bug-eyed rat dogs." It's not even really a dog. It's just like, and I'm like, I get it. I understand. If you want a dog, you want a real dog. Actually, if she could have her way, we'd own a wolf. But I said, no, just no. I mean...
So I'm going to settle for a Doberman.
Maybe a Doberman, maybe a Shepherd, but yeah, wow.
Well, only if we shave the Shepherd, because I don't like the long hair.
Well, we will definitely get a horsehair brush and make sure we keep it. I thought it was the chupacabra. There might be a connection, but hold on to that thought, because we will be talking about cryptids in a week or so.
Okay, but anyway, I did want to. This is from one of Jan Harold Brunverd's book. There's another take on this. In this one, the couple take the dog home, dry it, and feed it, and they run an ad in the paper. Found small, dark brown, hairless dog with long tail, no collar. But nobody responds to the ad, and they take the little dog home with them when they return to New York. So in this one, they were vacationing in Florida, and they found it in Florida. The second day they have returned home, coming back from work in the evening, they find that their new pet has had a fight with their cat, chewing the kitty's fur up pretty badly, and in some versions, killing and partially eating the cat.
Oh, gosh.
They take both cats, or just the survivor, to the vet, who takes one look at the pet and asks them, "Have you ever heard of had this dog bark?" "No," they admit. "It never does bark exactly, just sort of squeaks. The reason for that," explains the vet, "is this is no dog, it's a Haitian rat."
Wow.
Another version is the vet immediately kills the new pet, then explains what it really is. And it says this little parable, with its obvious reference to illegal Haitian refugees arriving on the Florida coast, started circulating in the early 1990s. In San Francisco, the same time, the lost dog turned into a Chinese rat, referring to West Coast smuggling illegal Asian immigrants. So I guess this has a topical thing to it.
You know, there's every
legend
has some sort of a inspiration, right? You know,
Yes.
So real quick, I did want to say, welcome Matanui, Chihuahua, rat, I see no difference. I think of that meme from The Office. You know, corporate wants you to take a look at these two pictures and tell us the difference. Chihuahua, rat. It's the same picture. It's the same picture.
This is interesting. They're European versions of the story that describe a Dutch couple adopting an Egyptian pharaoh rat. Or a Spanish couple returning from vacation in Thailand with a pet that looked like a Yorkshire Terrier.
So Jesse says New York rats are bigger than the Taco Bell dog. Not wrong. Have you guys seen the meme video that was going around of the New York rat that gets a hold of a piece of pizza and it's running down the stairs with it? Yeah,
well, that really was filmed, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, that's not an urban legend.
Yeah.
That was real, you know. Because look, rats are scavengers. You know, we should not be surprised when you have a city that has a lot of wasted food and refuse, and it attracts the rats. That's just how these things work. You know, no big surprise.
Netter, did you like that story?
I'll pass.
Nick, you've heard this one before, right?
I actually didn't, but that we used to have or my fiance.
Well,
had a
Nick,
Chihuahua.
you're probably the youngest person on the stream, so that's okay.
But it reminds me of the Chihuahua that my fiance had that I was, stuck with for quite a few years.
Oh, I don't want to be the
rat dog.
reason you guys start some sort of a bump. So let's
No, it's
Anyway,
but now you're gonna get me off on a tangent. But when Netter and I were first dating, she wanted cats and I wanted a dog. She said, "I'll tell you what. When we get married, you can get it." No, not when we get married, because we were living in apartments. She said, "When we get a house, you can have a dog." And honestly, when we bought this house, it's a ranch. It's pretty small. I was like, if we want a decent sized dog, she's like, yeah, no, none of these little,
Yip dogs.
Yip dogs. It's got to be a real dog. And I'm like, well, we don't really have the room then for that kind of a dog.
But we have a huge backyard.
We do have a huge backyard, but
and it's fenced.
well, there you go.
Honestly, I have no more excuses because we do work from home. That was the original thing. I was like, well, we're gone for most of the day. This poor dog would be trapped all alone. But we work from home. There's really no excuse anymore. So we probably really should think about that.
Let's go out and find a wolf.
Well, around here,
either that or a dragon.
well, I'd love to get you a dragon, sweetie. That would actually be pretty
holy
awesome.
cow! Geek Flag had a 6-foot dog once.
Wow.
I love the name.
I'll tell you what, though. See, every breed of dog has its problems, right? The bigger they are, the more likely they are to have muscle and joint problems,
Right.
and it's tough. It really is. But God, I do. Honestly, this is what it really is. We've had cats all the time that we've been married, and every time one of them passes on, it's tough, and we don't really want to take up that emotional burden again. And so that's kind of what's been putting me off from getting a dog.
Actually, in the time we've been married, I think we've only had Mischief.
We had Julian too.
Briefly. It's like we had him long enough to take him to the vet and have him put down because my mother-in-law fed him something that made him really sick, and they're like, he's been poisoned, and there's we can't do anything for him.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but my Mischief kitty was, let's see, we've been married, it'll be 32 years this year.
Yep.
And Mischief, we had, let's see, he died about 6 years ago. But he was like 24 years old when he passed.
Yeah.
He was an old kitty.
Yeah.
The vet used to call him the old man.
Old man. Yeah, exactly.
And, yeah, so it's like...
I think we talked about this when you were on Netter's channel, Nick. That's the one that shortly after the cat died, I was seeing him like out of the corner of my eye and stuff.
Yes.
And jumped up on the bed and scared the crap out of me. I'm like, that little fucker is still scaring the crap out of me. It's like, dude. So, but I'm over it now. It's, I think he's moved on, and maybe I have too. Awesome, Boomer. You got another one for us?
Yeah, if you want to keep going, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one may be familiar. Oh, wait, I have it up in my PDF. Hold on. Where am I?
Do you want me to just advance it to the next slide?
Just advance it to the next one. Honestly,
There you
I'm
go.
stressed out enough as it is.
Oh, I like this one. Is this AI as well?
Oh, they're all AI. And trust me, this one was hard to get an AI of because you type in phone and it starts attaching to the phone's prone to the person's head.
You do have to
and all
learn
those
how to
other things.
prompt. You have to be very specific.
Yes.
And you almost have to think like a computer when you're doing these things. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Nick, do you ever use the things like Midjourney and stuff like that?
What is the Midjourney thing?
It's one of those AI art generators. You give it a prompt. Imagine a girl sitting at a desk talking on a phone or something like that.
Not
And it comes
that
up with something
one,
like that.
but
Okay.
I have used the one that the ChatGPT owns, or I forget what it's called. but-
Basically,
yeah,
the
basically the
same
same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Real quick, want to say hi to Tim Hayes. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Make sure you subscribe to our guest Beyond the Hub Beyond the Hub podcast. I'm starting to get a little slurry here. Go ahead, Boomer. I'm sorry I cut you off. What is this girl yelling at on the phone?
Well, can you hear me okay before I do anything else?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Why?
Okay. All right. No, it seems like my computer screen is frozen up, but if you can hear me, that's fine.
Yeah,
All right,
keep
I'm gonna
going.
read it.
You're
I'm going to
fine.
read it. I'm like, step out in a minute or two, but there we go. Let me go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and read this to you, okay? So, this hails from a standard version is from came from a 14-year-old Canadian boy in 1973. There was this babysitter that was in Montreal babysitting 3 children in a big house. She was watching TV when suddenly the phone rang. The children were all in bed. She picked up the phone and heard this guy on the other side laughing hysterically. She asked him what it was that he wanted, but he wouldn't answer, and then hung up. She worried about it for a while, but then thought nothing more of it, and then went back to watching the movie. Everything was fine until about 15 minutes later when the phone rang again. She picked it up and heard the same voice laughing hysterically at her, and then hung up. At this point, she became really worried and phoned the operator to tell her what had been happening. The operator told her to calm down and that if he called again to try and keep him on the line as long as possible, and she would try to trace the call. Again, about 50 minutes later, the guy called back and laughed hysterically at her. She asked him why he was doing this, but he just kept laughing at her. He hung up, and about 5 seconds later, the operator called. She told the girl to get out of the house at once because the person who was calling from the upstairs extension. She slammed down the phone, and just as she was turning to leave, she saw the man coming down the stairs, laughing hysterically with a bloody butcher knife in his hand and meaning to kill her. She ran out onto the street, but he didn't follow. She called the police, and they came and caught the man and discovered that he had murdered all 3 children.
Okay. I know where this one comes from. Nick, is this familiar to you?
I know I've heard this one before. I can't remember.
Now, what's really creepy is the house I grew up in. We did have another phone upstairs. And now this was back in the day when you can actually leave kids home at a certain age and it was fine by themselves. So I was about 9 years old and the phone rang downstairs. And my first thought is there anybody upstairs? Because my sisters had told me the story.
Yeah.
So I would answer the phone and go, hello?
Oh, yeah.
And then wait. And if I didn't hear anything, it's like, I'm leaving now. And I would hang up the phone and go wait outside on the front porch until somebody else came home.
Yeah, so Jesse, I think, got it first. David Pensack got it after. When a Stranger Calls, 1979. It's a movie. It's the plot of a movie.
Okay.
This one was, and don't answer numbers you don't recognize, but see, keep in mind, this is back in 1979. These were landline analog phones. There was no caller ID. You had no idea where that call was coming from. But therein lies the problem that a lot of people have had with that movie. If you are on the same line, how do you call into the house from that number? That was the problem.
Well, in our case,
You had a separate line upstairs?
we had a separate line. So what you did is you hit the something on the receiver, and it changed over to the other number so you can dial out. And you can call the other number in the house.
That's one of those. I did not, in my research for tonight, I came across, well, I hesitate to call it an urban legend because it turned out to be a real story. A story of a family that bought a house, and it turned out that, and they were in hock up there to their eyeballs for it, and they started receiving letters from somebody who knew things about the family that they could only know by being able to see and hear them in the house. And the police weren't taking them seriously, and these letters were threatening the kids, and they ended up having to sell the house and move out, and taking a huge loss. But yeah, this was like a true story. This wasn't even an urban legend, and that's one of the things I want to talk about tonight. Is that these urban legends are based on. So we talked about this in the first part. These urban legends were just word of mouth shared stories that it predates the internet. It predates things like Reddit, YouTube, and stuff like that. Nowadays we have creepypastas and whatnot, but it's kind of the same thing, right? Some of them were 100% real. Some of them were, like this last one, just the plot of a movie that people thought was real. Sometimes it's based on a kernel of truth. Like I talked about Peabody's tomb last time. It's true. This guy Peabody, and he's probably buried on the grounds. Gave the property to the Catholic Church, but all the ancillary stuff was kind of built up. But yeah, sometimes it's 100% true. What were you gonna say, Boomer? I heard you taking a breath.
Oh no, I was gonna say you said Peabody. Was Sherman involved? I'm sorry.
Why didn't you make that joke last time? That would have been perfect.
I know why I thought of it now. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, you want to bring my presentation back? Sorry.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. It was mine, or it's whatever
Yeah,
connection on my end.
let's get you
Go back to the babysitter. Isn't she pretty? Anyway. She's pretty scared as well.
Well, I love that comic book art. That's kind of cool.
The AI did that, but like I said, through Canva. Like I said, I don't want to pat myself on the back because I didn't make it.
And I don't know if this is intentional, but you look in the mirror and you see some shadows there. It looks like somebody watching her. Or something.
That's a good one out of many that were awful. So
you just got lucky with that one. That's kind of cool.
I do want to read a variant on this one. This
Sure.
comes from 1976. This was circulating. This is August 8th, 1969. So this was collected in 76. It was August 8th, 1969. She was going to babysit at the Smiths, who had two children, ages 5 and 7. She had just put the children to bed and went back to the living room to watch TV. The phone began to ring. She went upstairs to answer it. The man on the other end said, "I'm upstairs with the children. You'd better come up." She hung the phone up immediately and, scared to death, she decided that it must be a prank call. Again, she went to watch TV. The phone rang again. She went to answer it, this time more scared than the last. The man said, "I'm upstairs with the children," and described them in detail. So she hung up the phone, not knowing what to do. Should I call the police? Instead, she decided I'll call the operator. They can trace these phone calls. She called the operator, and the operator said that she would try and do what she could. Approximately 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time she was shaking. She answered the phone, and the man again said, "I'm upstairs with the children. You'd better come quick." She tried to stay on the phone as long as she could so that the operator could trace the call. This time, the man hung up. She called back, and the operator said, "Run out of the house. The man is on the extension." She didn't quite know what to do. Should she go and get the children? No, she said. He's up there. If I go and get the children, I'll be killed too. She ran next door to the neighbor's house and called the police. The sirens came. There must have been at least 10 police cars. They went inside the house, ran upstairs, and found not a man but a 7-year-old child who was sitting next to the phone with a tape recorder.
Oh.
Later, they found that the boy down the street had told this young boy to do this the next time he had a babysitter. You see, the boys didn't like his parents going out, and he didn't like having babysitters, so he felt this was the
That's
only way
actually
he
a
could get rid of
great story. I like that. A little kid acting out in a very clever way. Oh, man.
As a parent, I would have beat his butt on Black
Well,
and Blue when
you
I
know
got
what?
home.
No, I could see this as the plot of a film where the babysitter now is trying to like earn his trust and get him to like her and stuff. This could be a
like
great
a comedy.
plot. Yeah.
So this is like
a comedy
horror.
with a heart. You know, I could see that.
We've often argued in the past horror and comedy have the same beats. So this is them taking a terrifying situation,
Yes.
turning it comedic, which you imagine. I know in the 80s they used to sell these little fancy recorders that you could change your voice with. Remember all that? And children's stories
Real quick, I want to say hi to Sashi, who, boy, it must be afternoon where you're at in the future there, Sashi. If I did that, I wouldn't exist today. Okay, fair enough.
Anyway.
But Curtis Elby's saying hi from Malaysia. Yeah, good one.
If you read Scary Stories and Tell Dark, there's a very good version of this story that's actually rather tame, so a kid could listen to it. I played it in front of a bunch of 6th graders once, or fifth. No, I think it was 4th graders because I did an outreach thing when I was at college.
In a way,
so I played this story to them, but nothing. The kids don't die in this version of the story. This little girl had this surprised look on her face when the guy kept calling up. Like, you know.
This When a Stranger Calls, I have to believe was okay. First, real, very quick, very brief story. I saw the 1979 film When a Stranger Calls at a Halloween party on VHS. That was the first time I saw the movie, so that's why I'm aware of it.
Didn't have an SNL actress in it, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think there was a remake of it.
Okay, yeah.
Not the original one.
Okay.
This film has a huge impact. And again, there's that nagging. If there's only one line in the house, how is he calling out and getting a line in? But put that aside, it is a creepy concept. But I have to believe that it also influenced and inspired the opening scene of Scream.
Sure.
With Drew Barrymore.
But that makes sense because the guy had a cell phone. An early version.
That does take it to a different degree, right?
Yes.
And then, spoiler for a, 30-year-old film or whatever it is, you find out there's more than one killer. So there could have been more than one phone. I know.
I have a question for you though too with the whole phone thing though. Is it actually possible for you to call someone from another line in the house and call the other phone? Was that debunked later on?
Back in the 80s, I looked into this, and apparently it is possible, but not in the way that it's depicted in the film. You'd need the assistance of the operator, which would make for a great storyline where it would be like Scream, where you've got a Confederate working with you to make it work.
We have Brandon Rodriguez in the chat.
Let me bring up the chat. So busy at work tonight, but I made sure to stop by and say hi when I got the chance. Hello everyone, and sorry I couldn't be there, Nick. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Brandon, the other half Beyond the
Is that
Hub
his name?
podcast.
Brandon the other half?
Well, I didn't mean it that way, but yes.
My better half.
And I hope Nick adequately communicated that I don't want you to feel slighted. I'm not purposely doing a stream on a night when you can't make it. I just you are always as welcome as Nick is.
In fact, the next time I have a Thursday things where you guys can make it, I want you both to be able to make it.
That would be nice. Yeah. That
So
would be awesome.
Once you guys talk over your schedules, I'm looking for second week of August and beyond.
If you guys haven't figured it out by now, Ned and I are big fans. just saying.
Yeah. So just let me know what Thursday would work for you, and I'll book you in.
Yeah. You guys
good. I'll
you
talk
guys
to
can
him.
work it. And Willie's Movies and Music. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while, but good to see you, my friend. We are here with Nick from Beyond the Hub podcast. So have you not seen that movie, Nick? When a Stranger Calls?
No, I haven't. But
Get
I
your
have heard
notepad
of it
out.
before.
Write it down. 1979. It's definitely worth it. I'll bet your dad's seen it.
I bet so.
I want to say the movie Black Christmas 2 had elements of that in it, except in that it was a guy taunting a sorority. He was taunting a sorority.
Did it involve phone calls? I don't remember.
Yes, because he kept calling up, but he was making more obscene phone calls. In fact, Margot Kidder's in it, and there's
what year was Black Christmas?
That was in the 70s. And Margot Kidder had is that a prank or no? It's the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
1974. Black Christmas predates When a Stranger Calls.
Interesting, but it's not the same thing. It's not a babysitter he's calling.
No. You're right.
Yes.
But the idea of the murderer in the house calling the house,
right,
is not. This is. Oh, I'm so glad you brought this one up, because being able to trace it to various films and finding the history on it. This is urban legends, right?
Where is the true history?
Happen,
I told you there's some urban legends that people think date back as far as medieval times, which doesn't really make them modern urban legends, but they just get retold over and over again.
I want to bring up one real quick. I'm gonna take you out real quick.
Take me out, it's fine.
Because mine is very brief. I don't even need to talk too much about it, because y'all are gonna know exactly what I'm talking about.
You're gonna share.
So this is and this was the inspiration for the.
I don't like it. I'm creeped out already. Okay, go ahead.
Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia, the Romanov family. Yeah. So if you ever saw the Don Bluth film Anastasia, or any of the knockoffs or the various stories, the idea that after the death of the Romanov family, Anastasia was not accounted for. There's all kinds of legend about her having survived and what happened to her, and there was actually some people that claimed to have been Anastasia and so forth. This one is not much of a legend, simply because there is no real mystery here. We actually know what happened to Anastasia. She actually did die with the rest of the family, and it's very sad. But we understand why an urban legend comes up about this. There's urban legends about so many deaths because it's a coping mechanism, right? Anastasia was the youngest of the Romanovs. She was very much beloved. The idea of a little girl being caught up in this political intrigue and executed with the rest of her family, it's a grisly, horrible story. So people don't want to believe. So because her body was not found with the rest of the bodies, it was actually separate. For the longest time, the body was missing, so they could say, oh, well, maybe she didn't die, maybe she got away, and, there were all these stories. But unfortunately, folks, this is one of those urban legends that ended up having a resolution, a very sad one.
Oh, right.
And it was very obvious, So I hate to ruin your childhood if you really enjoyed that Don Bluth film,
but isn't this always like Elvis? People keep saying they've seen Elvis, or Tupac is still alive. That's another one.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that extension of the?
They've done interesting things
person,
too
yeah.
with Morrison, and I mean there's this desire to keep alive, certain personalities, and.
So they found her bones, though.
Yes, they did.
But what you didn't realize, that was her secret twin sister nobody knew about.
Now you're going to add to the legend, and it's going to continue. Boomer, you are evil. You are evil.
Or maybe she was a copy that the evil Mad Monk Rasputin made in his lab. I don't know.
Before we let Agent Boomer go, should I let Boomer finish his slideshow, Nick?
Or did you want to go? It's up to you. I mean, do you want me to finish up? Do you want to go? It's up to you.
I didn't have many, so if you want to continue on.
Why don't we just wrap me up and then we can chill out? How's that sound?
because I know you want to bail as soon as possible.
Who, me?
You gotta work tomorrow. Yeah.
No, but I'll try to stay on for a good portion of it. I mean, I'll be on past midnight at my time at least. So okay. Oh yes. Oh, I love.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so. My thumbnail had an AI representation of Anastasia eating chocolate chip cookies.
Eating chocolate chip cookies.
Why are we having
Did they have chocolate chip cookies in Russia during that time? These poor children.
Gosh, you got me there, Boomer. I don't know the history. We're going to have
stream the history of the chocolate chip cookie. Okay.
What is that channel? Tasting History. Yeah, we need them to do a history of the chocolate chip cookie.
You need to watch his latest. It's the history of Chicago deep dish pizza.
I've already seen it, my friend. I've already seen it, and I was annoyed because he even said this himself. He overcooked it, and I'm like, oh, that looks terrible. Oh, that looks terrible.
He still liked it, but you're right. It could have been better. Is that what you're saying?
He overcooked it. Yeah, it was.
All right.
But he was talking about pizzas. Let's face it, Netter and I know those pizzas. We know those pizzas. But that's not an urban legend. That's food history, and that's a whole other story. So go ahead and tell us about why are you bringing up a picture of a chocolate chip cookie.
This story has many names. This particular version is called the Neiman Marcus cookies. This is okay. This is true. This is from the book. It's reprinted in the book Too Good to Be True, the Colossal Book of Urban Legends by Jan Harold Brunvert. Okay. This is true. Please take this time to read it, and please send this to every single person you know who has an email address. This is really terrific. My daughter and I had just finished a salad at Neiman Marcus Cafe in Dallas and decided to have a small dessert. Because both of us are such cookie lovers, we decided to try the Neiman Marcus cookie. It was so excellent that I asked if they would give me the recipe, and the waitress said with a small frown, "I'm afraid not." "Well," I said, would you let me buy the recipe?" With a cute smile, she said yes. I asked how much, and she responded, "Only $2.50. It's a great deal." I said with approval, "Just add it to my tab." 30 days later, I received my Visa statement from Neiman Marcus, and it was $285. I looked again, and I remembered I had only spent $9.95 for the two salads and about $20 for a scarf. As I glanced at the bottom of the statement, it said, "Cookie recipe, $250. That's outrageous. I called Neiman Marcus accounting department and told them the waitress said $250, which clearly does not mean $250 by any possible interpretation of the phrase. Neiman Marcus refused to budge. They would not refund my money because, according to them, what the waitress told you is not our problem. You have already seen the recipe. We absolutely will not refund your money at this point." I said, "Okay, you folks got my $250, and I'm going to turn the page, and I'm going to have $250 worth of fun." I told her that that I was going to see to it that every cookie lover in the United States with an email account has a $250 cookie recipe from Neiman Marcus for free. She replied, I wish you wouldn't do this. I said, well, you should have thought of that before. So here it is. Please, please, please pass it on to everyone that you can possibly think of. I paid $250 for this recipe. Neiman Marcus cookie. 2 cups butter, 4 cups flour, 2 tablespoons of soda, club soda, 2 cups sugar, 5 cups blended oatmeal, 24 ounces chocolate chips, 3 cups chopped nuts, your choice, 2 cups brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 8-ounce Hershey bar grated, 4 eggs, 2 tablespoons baking powder, 2 tablespoons vanilla. Measure oatmeal and blend it in a blender to a fine powder. Cream the butter and both sugars. Add eggs and vanilla. Mix together with flour, oatmeal, salt, baking powder, and soda and chocolate chips, Hershey bar and nuts. Roll into balls and place 2 inches apart on a cookie sheet. Bake for 10 minutes at 375 degrees. Makes 112 cookies. Have fun. This is not a joke. This is a true story. What do you think?
So Netter was able to find the recipe online.
Yes.
Okay, wait.
She had to go to Web Archive.
Right.
But here's the link if you want the recipe.
Now, here's the thing.
Netter knows about this.
Yes.
She's the one that told me about it.
First off, when they were supposedly charged us $250, you get a bill that you have to sign before, you get charged. You're going to tell me she didn't notice this really high amount when she was signing and adding a tip?
Yeah.
2.
Good point.
Somebody actually made the recipe as you just read it, and they said it was the most awful thing they ever did because it was way too much oatmeal ratio to everything else. Third,
I will point out something else about that recipe. It says, remind me what you just said, something about nuts. As
your
you prefer
choice.
Something. Your choice.
3 cups chopped nuts, your choice.
See, then it's not the official recipe, right?
because that doesn't have
Because
anything.
they would be very specific about the recipe.
And third, Neiman Marcus themselves disputed this entire
Yeah,
thing, going,
that's true.
okay, yeah, we've heard the story. No,
Okay.
we're not going to repeat it here. However, here is the recipe to our actual cookies. It is free to anyone who asks for it.
That's
this
true.
is the actual real recipe. Here you go.
Do you know-
Share it if you want. We don't care.
Guys, do you know why Neiman Marcus was forthcoming with the recipe like that for free?
Why?
Nick's saying no too. You cannot, and I know this from tasting history. You can't copyright a recipe. You legally cannot do it.
But then how come KFC has their 11 herbs and spices and blah, blah,
That
blah?
is not copywritten. They just keep it secret. It's a trade secret.
Same with Coca-Cola.
If it gets out, there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, same with Coca-Cola. Their
Coca-Cola's
recipe
also,
is
yes.
secret, but it's not copywritten.
So how do
why-
people sell their recipes? Because I know this restaurant when I was younger, they sold the restaurant and sold the recipes with it.
They are
Like-
counting on you not... Well, think about it. If you are able to obtain that recipe without paying for it, they have no claim to it. But if you have no other option and you're willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
it's a transaction.
This recipe's been in my
It's-
family for 300 years. Okay, can I get a copy? It's been in my family for 300 years. It's a family secret. I'll pay you $100 for it.
I
Okay.
had an analogous situation with a sub place, a sub sandwich place here in the Chicago area. Actually, they may have been more regional, but the franchise has kind of fallen apart. Mr. Submarine, and we kind of picked apart the sandwich to figure out what was in it, what was so great about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we did was we went to a local Mr. Sub and asked them, there's this meat I can't identify. And they told us. They had you're also talking about people that work there that are minimum wage. They have no stake in it. The secret was So there's this sub sandwich. It's got all these different meats, lettuce, mixture of spices and oils. But the one thing that was kind of flummoxing us, there was one cold cut meat that we couldn't place. We thought it might have been ham, but it wasn't exactly ham. It was spiced ham. Basically spam.
Wow.
That was the
ingredient.
secret ingredient. Yeah, I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. I said, what about the cheese? I said, it's a white cheese, but it's not, and I guess
Provolone?
No, it was like an uncolored American cheese.
White,
So
it's called white American cheese. That's what they call
yeah,
it.
if you just use
okay.
regular American cheese, you wouldn't even.
They
taste
use it
the
on
difference.
Philly steaks a lot, actually. Yeah.
Now here's something that's interesting. I actually have a recipe of Mrs. Fields cookies.
Yes.
Mrs. Fields
Ooh.
cookies.
Yeah.
It's also
this-
been known. This urban legend also is known as the Mrs. Fields cookie recipe.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Well,
Yes.
this one, in this case, I used to work downtown Chicago as a, well, Nick, you're going to be too young for this, but as an Andy Frayne crowd engineer at some of our local places like the Auditorium Theater and whatnot, and Symphony Hall and those places. And I had just gone off of work. It was like 11 o'clock at night, somewhere around there. I was walking towards the bus. And there was actually Mrs. Fields a couple of doors down from where I was working that
Yes.
night. And as I was walking, I saw a piece of paper on the floor or on the ground, and the wind had picked it up just enough to kind of turn it over. And I'm like, that looks like a recipe. So I picked it up. And because it was cold outside, it's middle of winter, so I just shoved it in my pocket for I'll look at it later. Well, when I got home, I looked at it, and it was a recipe for one of their cookie recipes that one of their people had written down, and I guess they dropped it. So it's like, yep, so I have one.
So she's actually made this cookie recipe. It's
It's
good.
not bad, but it's not all bad either.
Well, but if you know Mrs. Fields cookies, it's Mrs. Fields cookies.
Now, here's a secret I'm going to tell you. For anybody that likes to make cookies and you want to know how to make them nice and moist, use sour cream.
Yep.
Interesting.
That's the secret ingredient.
I wouldn't
sour
think
cream.
to use
There
that.
are a lot of chocolate chip cookie recipes that call for sour cream. Yes.
Yeah, like
She's
a half a
right.
cup of sour cream, and it makes it nice and moist, and you get that nice chewiness to it.
So this brings us to a point that I wanted to make about urban legends. They're not all scary. Sometimes sometimes they're just about foods and recipes and
Yes.
corporate secrets and stuff like that.
I did want to read a bit from this, though. It says,
Yeah, go
verbatim.
ahead.
This is verbatim from the internet. One of the literally hundreds of copies this have received since 1989. So I think in the past it was like a chain mail thing instead of an email chain thing. In the early 1980s, story was told about Mrs. Fields' company. The typical detail that the 250 misunderstanding took place during a telephoned request for the recipe made to the company headquarters in Park City, Utah. So this is someone calling them up on the phone and
Sure.
charging the credit card over there, which makes more sense actually,
Yeah.
instead of you having to sign it. The blenderized oatmeal and Hershey bar are direct quotations from the Mrs. Field version, which mutated briefly to Marshall Fields, the Chicago department store, before
Yeah.
settling on Neiman Marcus and the chain letter format.
And just from a pure culinary perspective, that finely powdered oats is not going to affect the flavor. It's going to affect the texture. And so, depending on what kind of cookie you're going for, could be important.
When was the oat brand craze going on? Was that the 80s?
Yeah,
You
but
have
you
to
know
eat
what
oat
that
brand,
was?
it's healthy.
That was really just about fiber. That's really all that was.
Okay.
Nate points out for moist cookies, mayonnaise. Think this through. What's in mayonnaise?
Eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs and oil.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
So it's already in cookies anyway.
It's already in cookies anyway, but if you whip the two together, it can absolutely change the texture.
And if for whatever reason
You're talking to an Italian who loves to cook. Who loves
I love to bake,
So I'm definitely going to have some things to say about this stuff, right?
if you are baking cookies and you discover, oh no, I'm out of eggs, but you have yogurt, you can use yogurt in place of the eggs.
Same thing with if it calls for eggs or yogurt and you have neither, bananas.
Yes.
Bananas is another option. In fact, the reason I know this is because there was a recipe that I made that called for eggs, but I was going to a function where some of the people were vegan. And so I had to look for a vegan option for eggs, and bananas were one. It was a fruitcake recipe.
Oh, I see.
And I
So
was
you
like,
used bananas as
and
the
I was like,
eggs.
bananas? That's perfect. It's a fruit.
Okay, now for all of you going, ew, fruitcake. Troy makes Alton Brown's free-range fruitcake. This stuff is made
You
with
can look
real,
this up on the internet. It's easy enough
It's
to
real
find.
dried fruit. It's more like a fruit bread. It's really,
None
really
of
good.
those artificially
Yeah.
colored jelly.
Everything
fruits,
is
yeah.
actual dried fruit. So, real dried raisins, real apricots, blueberries, cherries. I forget. Candy gingers in there.
You know what? When we get closer to the holidays, maybe we'll do a stream talking
That'll be
about
neat.
some of our favorite.
Maybe favorite holiday foods, actually.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
an
yeah.
idea.
This stuff
absolutely.
is so
Tommy,
yummy.
did I? You were here earlier. I don't think I said hi to you. Welcome, Tommy, the Guinea Pig Collective. And didn't expect a live stream titled "Urban Legends" to make me hungry. Good point. See, but that's my thing, right? It's
Some
not
of them
all
make
about,
you the opposite.
It's not all about scary, spooky. Sometimes it's just about corporate recipes.
I have to tell you though, Neiman Marcus actually took out an ad and said, "Look, whatever's circulating." No, it was Neiman Marcus. I think also Mrs. Field. It's like we're not us. We never sold anyone a
I get that,
$250.
but you know what? At the same time, Netter and I worked for, part-time at the holidays. We both worked for Carson Peary Scott, which was a direct competitor with Neiman Marcus. Literally the opposite side of the mall from Neiman Marcus. We used to call them needless markup.
Yeah.
Very expensive, cheap. Look, you know, you go to these so-called expensive department stores.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at the products. If you have any discernment and pay attention, it's cheap crap with big names, and they charge you a lot of money. That may sound like an urban legend, but this is fact. Trust me on this one.
I think the urban legend is that itself. I think that was just them using that for advertisement.
Maybe.
You know, you make a great point there, Nick, because honestly, that I would take advantage of that. If they're
Any publicity
mentioning
is-
me in an urban legend, I'm gonna play with that no matter what. And the idea of our recipe, because they know they can't copyright it. It's like, screw it, let's just give it away. And here's the other thing about it. Are you going to make it, or are you going to go buy the fuckers? You're going to go buy them because it's easier. Right? You know, and you're like, well, I got the recipe. I could make it, but screw it. I love these cookies. I'm just going to go get them from Neiman Marcus.
And got you
Yeah,
talking
that's
about
how
it.
they make their money. Yeah.
But that's the Mrs. Field cookie recipe. I thought Netter would like that one because it was like a just desserts thing. Right?
We will come back to this at the holidays specifically
love baking.
because I have some stories to share about Chicago and Marshall Fields for the holidays. So we'll talk about that when we get closer to the holidays.
Yeah, I like the story just because I love baking. And it's like, as soon as Troy mentioned it, I'm like, okay, let me do a little bit of research.
By the
on
way,
you.
Netter has made these cookies. All right.
You know, I mean, it's is there a bad cookie? Yes, there is.
Yes.
Yes.
I suppose there probably is, but
Yes.
I have yet
No.
to find a chocolate chip cookie that I really was like,
My most
No.
hated cookie is Vienna fingers.
the hell is
I remember
that?
those. They're kind of like those. If the ones I'm thinking of, they're about 4 inches long, and they're
Yeah.
rounded on both ends, so they're oblong.
Yeah.
And they almost taste like a shortbread, but they got a
Awful.
flavor to them, like almond. Yeah,
They don't
almond
have a flavor to them. That's the problem. No, I don't. Get some golden Oreos. I'm sorry.
Okay, Troy, do you remember at that time I tried a new recipe for chocolate chip cookies, and they came out flat,
Yes.
and they were kind of really crispy, like they was just pretty much crisp, and a couple of chocolate chips.
Yes.
Those were awful. You even
Okay.
said they were awful. They
Okay,
were
fair enough.
chewy and they
Fair
were
enough.
nasty. I'm like, I'm never making this
that
recipe
can happen.
again.
That can happen.
Can I ask our guest? I'm sorry. You know, highlight.
Go ahead. What?
I want to ask our guest a question.
Yes.
Nick, do you use mayonnaise? And if you do, what brand? I'm curious.
I do not use mayonnaise.
This seems really
Okay.
off the
All right.
off the trail, but I'm interested.
I do
The
not
reason-
at all, actually.
Okay, some people some people can't stand this stuff. It's fine. I know you're from the Northeast, and I was curious. You must know people use mayonnaise at least.
Yeah.
What is? Do you know people that like mayonnaise or use it?
Yeah, my fiance will have it. She'll get the
What brand
Hellman's.
does she use? If you don't mind sharing.
Hellman's, I think.
Yes, I knew it. Hellman's is the Northeastern brand. I use Hellman's, and
That's fine,
I
no
notice
problem.
when you're in the South, they'll yell at you, and they're like, "What's this stuff? Use Duke's." They're all about Duke's in the South. Duke's mayonnaise. I don't know if
Okay.
Duke's may be good, but I know Hellman's, New York, New Jersey area. That's why I was curious. That's why I asked Nick this.
Guys,
I'm curious about that too. Like,
It's
do you
like-
when you
If
talk
were
about like soft drinks, what do you call it? Do you call it pop or soda?
pop or soda,
I call it soda. But I'm
Soda.
from New Jersey. What do you call it, Nick? If you don't.
I'm originally from Buffalo, so I called it pop. Still,
Okay. That's okay.
Just
That's
like
fine.
right where
That's
that
fine.
cutoff is there. That's where people like
It must be
veer
cut off
off.
in New York State somewhere because I know
Yeah.
in Jersey we called it.
what do we call it,
But
Ned?
my Ohio
We call it
cousins
soda.
in Ohio would
I
call
say
it pop.
soda,
That's-
but I don't know what they say in the Midwest, so I could be completely off.
it might be pop, and I know my Ohio cousins call it. Pops.
Mayonnaise, guys. If you're going out and buying jars of mayonnaise,
Yeah.
just get yourself some oil, get yourself some eggs,
Are you
and
kidding
make
me?
your
Make it
own.
homemade? Really?
Okay, now mustard. I grew up on Pluckman's. To me, that is the best mustard.
I can't taste the difference. I'm sorry. I buy Plockman's because she likes it.
Please.
I don't give a
I
crap.
think it's got a little bit more zing to it.
Guys, let's move on to the next one because
Let's
why
go.
are we talking about this?
Because this is a food-based. Hey, this was better than Southern fried wrap.
Nick
wasn't it?
had no idea he was going to be talking mostly
Oh,
about
here we
food
go.
and recipes when he
I like
came
it.
on the stream.
What do you see here?
I see a gift bag in a car.
Yes. All right. Let's see if I can find the right one. I should have prepped what we were discussing. Hold on.
And can I
have
just
this-
say, I think this was the most brilliant invention. Gift bags, so I don't have to wrap shit. Just saying.
Wait a minute. Darn it. Hold on. Give me a moment.
You don't put tissue paper in there?
Well, no, yeah. You
I'm just
know,
kidding.
that's kind of like wrapping it, right?
Yeah, just toss it in there.
And some things are a little bit easier to put into a bag than try to wrap. I mean, have you ever tried to wrap a really weird shaped package?
I had used the green bookmarks for this one because it's Christmas themed.
Mark
Where did I put it?
Maldekov says condiments. That could be a whole show. Unfortunately, the way we've been talking for the past 15
No.
minutes, you're right.
All right. Hold on. Bear with me for a moment. Sorry about this. Hold on.
Yeah, you can
Where
keep me
are
going
we?
on ketchup for an hour.
Well, right. I mean, Ned and I
I got
are from
it. I got it.
Chicago, so it's
Okay.
like ketchup for the most part is verboten for most things.
Okay, I got one. I'll read this one. This is called "The Dead Cat in the Package." Okay. Sent to
Okay,
me in
I don't know where this one's going.
What? Anyway.
I don't know where this one's going.
Okay. Sent to me in 1993 by Martha Westrop of Indianapolis. Many other readers, including several Midwestern newspaper columnists, confirmed that the old dead cat legend had found. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm
You want to
spoiling
get to
something.
the beginning of that legend,
That
please?
might be a good idea, yeah. Okay, here we go. I got it. In
Comes in the middle of the legend, and we're like, I'm lost.
Listen to me. The dead cat in the package. In December of 1992, a friend of mine told me about two friends of a friend of hers. They worked at the Mall of America in Bloomington, a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. They got off of work about 7 p.m. and they went to their car to share a ride home. When they started the car, it didn't seem to be running well, so they let it idle for a while, thinking it was just the cold weather. Then they noticed a bad smell coming from the engine.
Oh,
So they
God.
shut off the car and investigated. When they opened the hood, they discovered that a cat had climbed into the engine somehow while they were at work. The cat had gotten caught in a belt or something, and it was dead and mangled. The women found some sticks and poked the pieces of the dead cat loose. They didn't want to just leave the cat there on the ground, so they put it in a shopping bag and started walking back toward the mall. towards the mall to throw it in the garbage. But before they got there, a woman ran by and swiped the bag, presumably thinking it was full of Christmas gifts or something. The two women thought that was pretty funny. They decided that they should report the incident to mall security because next time the thief might steal something of value. As they were walking into the security office, they noticed a big hullabaloo. They stopped to see what was going on, and they saw that a family, and they saw that a familiar someone, the dead cat thief, had fainted, and she was being loaded into an ambulance. Then a bystander saw the shopping bag and told one of the paramedics that it belonged to the sick woman. So a paramedic put the bag on the woman's chest and secured it with a bungee cord. Of course, nobody had any firm details about what happened next, but my friend thought that the thief probably had a pretty rough time of it when she woke up and the cat was still there. I know I have heard or read the story before, but when I pressed my friend for detail, she kind of bit my head off. She was upset that I didn't believe the story, so I just dropped it. But it was driving me nuts ever since. It was like this was a Twilight Zone episode or something, and just one of those stories you collect. Yeah, so this is one version of that. Another version has the person left their car door unlocked, and when they went back to go lock the car door, and I saw someone grab the bag out of their front seat and ran off with it. So they follow the thief back, and the thief stops in a diner and opens up the bag, passes out once. You know, I've heard variations of that as well. Do you like that one? The cat in the shopping bag?
I've heard an interesting variation on that. Maybe I should give a little trigger warning for those of you that are particularly sensitive to harm coming to little furry friends. Maybe pause for a few minutes or jump ahead or whatever. But this one was actually told to me by my shop teacher. And he admitted that as far as he knew, it was an urban legend. It wasn't something that he had experienced. But he had heard of somebody who had a situation where a car was brought into the shop to be fixed. It had this horrible smell. Didn't understand what the problem was. When the mechanic went under the grail and started looking, found that there was the carcass of a cat around the fan right in front of the radiator. What happens is, and this actually happens, whether this story is true I don't know, but in general it does happen. Free range animals will seek out places that are warm in the wintertime and crawl in there to keep warm. And of course, right behind a radiator in a car is a very comfortable, warm place. However, once you start that car up and the fan starts, zip, you're dead. And this happened to apparently a stray cat, and yeah, then of course the smell starts, and when you pull air in through the ventilation system, it pulls from in front of the radiator, which is where all that smell came from. So, whether or not the story he heard was true, it was probably based on a real story, because it happens all the time.
I heard a variation on that didn't involve animals. But what it was that somebody actually emptied their litter box, and the only bag they had was this nice, pretty bag. And they went to go take out to the curb. Someone went by, did the yoink, and kept on running. And they were just kind of like, okay, and walked back into the house. So they actually ended up with a bag full of cat litter and cat poop.
Okay, I did hear another variation of the story when I was reading. I can't find it, but I'll just read what I...
Okay.
Because the green bookmarks look so much like the yellow ones, but it's okay. This was the guy was on a train instead of a car, and they had the dead cat in a bag, and then somebody else sitting near him had had something else in the bag, and he grabbed the wrong bag when he left, brought it home, and then what they found was a nice big deli ham. So whoever got the bag got the dead cat and thought it was their ham they bought for dinner. You like that one? No?
Welcome, Trey. Okay. It's good to see you, my friend. We were talking about you earlier. And One more time, I'm sure you guys are subscribed, but if you're not, especially Evelyn and Mark Melnikoff, make sure you are subscribed to Max World Entertainment. You will thank me later. Just saying.
Anyway, so this says this is an especially popular legend during the Christmas shopping season. Often the victims observe the thief faint twice. Once when she feels into the bag, and again when she returns to consciousness while the paramedics stretch her and sees the dead cat staring her in the face. And Landers published a version of a version in a letter signed the Okie in 1987. And she merely thanked her reader for letting the cat out of the bag.
Oh,
that's so
was
bad.
that all a setup just for that joke? Oh,
I think
come on.
so.
Boomer.
Anyway. What, did Ann Landers have a column? Is that who that was? Yeah, I think so.
Mark, I am going to make this year. I'm going to make the free range fruitcake for Evelyn, and I'm going to make one for you and Julie. And you will be eating those words because you will love it. Trust me.
All right. Should we
What
do the
else
last?
You got for us, Boomer? Yeah,
I think this is
your
the last
Okay.
one. I think so. Yes.
I love your comic art here. This is great stuff.
I didn't do it though. The AI did, but yes.
Although look at that hand. She's got two left hands.
Why do you got to spoil it now?
Is that part of the legend?
No, sweetie, that's her pinky sticking out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we'll go with that.
Oh my goodness! Hold on. Let me find the book. There it is. It's on the bottom.
I'll tell you what. Some of this AI artwork is amazing. Some of it's like nightmare fuel.
All right.
You know, sexy girl with 4 legs. You know, in weird positions and stuff. You know, it's like
There's
So this is-
actually a thing you can buy online where it's like an extra finger that you could put on your hand.
Yes, so that your pictures look like it was artificially generated.
So if you commit a crime and they're like, "Well, this is you," it's like,
nope, that was AI.
It's like,
look at it,
no,
it's got 6 fingers.
Yeah, I got 6 fingers in there. That's obviously not me. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Curtis Selby want to know if someone could drop a link so he could subscribe to Max World's Entertainment.
Oh, Netter, could you take care of that for me? I'm blotto
Yes.
now.
All right, but I'll go ahead and read a bit from this. This one's known as the boyfriend's death. I'm reading this from Vanishing Hitchhiker, American Urban Legend, the readings by Jan Harold Brunford. I kept trying to look for a more lengthier version of this, but I think this will do the job. So the boyfriend's death, collected in 1964. By folklorist Daniel R. Barnes from an 18-year-old freshman at the University of Kansas.
Okay.
The usual tellers of this story are adolescents, and the normal setting of the narration is a college dormitory room with fellow students sprawled on the furniture and floors. I guess that's how it would normally be told. Here we go. So this happened a few years out on the road that turns off of 59 Highway by the Holiday Inn. This couple were parked under a tree.
Wait,
on
does
this,
it say what state it is?
What, probably Kansas, if this is where it was originally collected.
Okay.
But that's the problem with urban legends. They take place in Kansas, then it's Wyoming, and all over the place.
Gotcha.
So this happened just any state with a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Is that all of them?
Yeah, that's pretty much all of them. That's
okay.
true. Well, back then, yeah.
Anyway,
there's a lot less. There's a lot less of those than there used to be.
Let me read it, though. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
This happened a few years ago out on the road that turns off 59 Highway by the Holiday Inn. This couple were parked under a tree on this road. Well, it got to be time for the girl to be back in the dorm, so she told her boyfriend that they should start back. But the car wouldn't start, so he told her to lock herself in the car and he would go down to the Holiday Inn and call for help. Well, he didn't come back, and pretty soon she started hearing a scratching noise on the roof of the car. Scratch.
This is a perfect urban legend.
Scratch. She got scareder and scareder, but he didn't
It's a
come
word.
back.
It is now.
It's how it was told. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But he didn't come back. Finally, when it was almost daylight, some people came along and stopped and helped her out of the car. And she looked up and there was her boyfriend hanging from a tree, and his feet were scraping against the roof of the car. This is why the road is called Hangman's Road. You like that one?
No.
Lack punch.
That's weird.
I've heard other versions where there's a killer on the road, and he hangs the boyfriend
His
upside down.
brain
as
is
his fingernails
squirming like a
kick.
toad. Take a long holiday.
Now,
Let your children play.
I
I'm
picked
sorry,
this
guys.
one.
I
I picked this one. I think Netter had mentioned this last time we did a stream. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know this one, don't you?
Yep.
Did you hear it yourself when you were growing up, maybe?
Yeah, it was one of those things, scary stories you hear, like in the Girl Scouts around the campfires, or
Yes.
I was
you
just
know,
thinking around the campfire.
and my older
absolutely.
sisters had mentioned it, so yeah.
I don't want Mabel and Nick to be feeling uncomfortable about this particular one. This is,
Anyway, this is from another book called Urban Legends and Modern Myths by Eni Genje. All right. This is called The Swinging Man Begins for an urban legend in a decidedly rural location when a young man who spent part of the evening joking with his date about running out of gas so they could neck actually finds himself puttering to a stop some distance from the last gas station.
Smartass. How's it hanging?
For the first little bit, they do indeed indulge in a little petting, but when the boyfriend suggests they take things further, the girl quickly backs off. For a time, they sit quietly, listening to the radio and hoping someone will happen by and offer assistance with a lift back down the road. When an hour goes by without any traffic passing, the boyfriend finally kisses his date, lets the car roll off onto the shoulder under a tree, cautions her to stay in the locked car until he comes back, and gas can in hand heads back toward the distant gas station. The weight grows boring in short order, so to pass the time without wearing down the battery, she curls up under her coat on the front seat to nap. She snoozes for some time, eventually waking to the sound of something scratching against the roof of the car. Scritch, scritch. It sounds like the branch of a tree rubbing over the vehicle in the wind. It's annoying, and she's tempted to get out and crack off the offending branch. Remembering her boyfriend's admonition, though, however, she sighs, stays inside, and turns the radio back on in hopes of drowning out the repetitive noise. When her young man still hasn't turned up an hour later, she assumes the gas station's rural area must close for the night, and deciding to put up with the noise rather than run out the light and sound later, curls up again. The noise continues, no better, no worse, and she eventually manages to drift off to sleep once more. The sun is just coming up when the car goes by. Again, she's tempted to get out in the hopes of flagging someone down. Before she can make up her mind one way or another, she's startled by 3 police cars, lights flashing, pulling up around her. One officer quickly opens the door and leads her directly away from the car. "Just come with me, miss, and please don't look back." With that simple line, he guarantees that no matter what, the startled girl would somehow twist her head around far enough to see what she was leaving behind. Dangling upside down above the car, his fingernails just brushing the roof, her boyfriend, who she thought was safe and sound on some gas station porch, hangs lifelessly. As the screams rise in the back of her throat, the officer drags her away from the scene while attempting to explain about a killer who's been operating in the area. Okay. I don't know. You get that? That's almost like Lot's wife. Don't look back, right?
Now,
from the Old
for
Testament.
this one, I've heard variation on it when I was growing up. Instead of the scratching noise, it was a tapping on the roof, and it was his foot hitting the top.
This makes me wonder. I have not seen the film, but from 1998, Urban Legend. I'm kind of wondering if there is a, because a lot of these urban legends would make great short stories in an anthology movie. You know,
a couple were turned into Tales from the Crypt comic stories. I'll get into that maybe in a future urban legend stream if we ever do another one. But yeah. But I should actually make a note of what we've covered so far.
We need to start working on the fruitcakes now so that they'll be ready come holiday season.
How long do they last?
Oh, they'll last
indefinitely. They can last indefinitely if you keep basting them in brandy.
Yeah.
That finishes me up. But see her scream face there? I thought that was appropriate for that one.
Okay. That is.
There is another version of that story.
Tell me.
Oh, really? Tell me.
So, the couple are in a car, they go to park, they're making out, and they keep hearing the scratchy noise on the car.
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking out. They don't see anything. The girl starts getting scared, and she's like telling her date, I'm really scared. We need to leave. Boyfriend's getting in our gun. It's just the trees. It's hitting the car. It's scratching. And she goes, no, I'm really freaking out here. I keep hearing it. Let's leave. We got to leave. So he's like, fine. Starts the car, drives her home. This being the age where a gentleman get out of the car and then walked around to let his date out.
Oh, that's
which
nice.
you guys don't do anymore. He gets out of his side, goes around to her side, and there in the handle of her door is a hook.
Ah, the hook story,
Yes.
which I think is a variant on this. People know the
Yes.
hook story, obviously. Sometimes they'll hear a thing on the radio that says, there's an escape killer with a hook, and he's like, oh, girls are always afraid of something. Let's make out. I want to go home. That's another version I've heard. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And the hook is bloody, right? Do you know that dates back? I was reading in some magazine. They think this one lady they were interviewing, she was a writer. She says that back in medieval times there was a story circulating about a madman that was killing people, and he had an axe. And then I guess the horse gets scared by something. The guy rides his horse home, and then there's an axe sticking out of the saddle when he gets back.
Look, I can tell you this. The whole idea about date night to a horror film, the whole idea of getting the heart racing, getting her to jump and give you a hug, and this is not new. It's kind of underhanded to use alcohol to induce romantic feelings, so to speak, but just as closely linked is using fear as an aphrodisiac, because anything that gets the heart going is very similar.
Really?
Yes. It reacts. It causes the same endorphins in the brain. There's this psychological condition about victims of trauma being attracted to first responders. First responders need to be very careful about this, because victims that you help will imprint on you. And it's very immoral to take advantage of that. But that is a very natural occurrence, and this is psychology 101 type stuff. Yeah.
Is this like the Florence Nightingale effect of the guy injured falling in love with the nurse, that sort of thing?
There, it's a similar. It's not the same, but it is similar. Yes.
Anastasia. Okay. All right.
And welcome, by the way, welcome Dulcimerist. I don't know how long you've been lurking. You just kind of jump in with a comment. I super appreciate you though. But there you go. No, yeah, that is. There's a YouTuber, John Solo, who does a lot of folklore type commentary, and he knows all about how folklore is like categorized and cataloged, and they've got like they take different folklore that's related and put them together in different groupings and whatnot, and he knows how all that works. I have to imagine that some of these urban legends work very much the same way. But anyway.
So,
all right.
Nick, do you have any stories you want to tell us about?
In fact,
Here's. Yeah, go on.
oh, I never mind. Didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Was that your last one, Boomer? I think that was.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
That's it. I forgot he was on Netter's Network, so he probably explained what his podcast was about there, but I don't know if he wanted to.
Wait a minute. Gotta say hi to... Guess what? Corgi Butt. Okay, this is Trey's other channel. Welcome, my friend. Yes, smart Alec. You. Thanks for stopping by with your other ID.
And I did.
If you are a dog fan, and honestly, if you're not a dog fan, what the hell are you doing here? But just saying, make sure you're subscribed to Guess What? Corgi Butt. It's some great corgi content.
That's
and
not
I
a
did drop Max World's link on my channel.
Trey has to tell us. We know, Trey. We know it's you. Come on, man. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, Nick. We interrupted you. We started to pull you in, and then we got caught up in the chat.
Did you like any of those urban legends, Nick? Before we continue with yours, anyone stand out?
I did. I liked them all.
Okay.
See, well, this is his bread and butter, right?
Okay.
Where do you draw the line between an urban legend and just someone reciting a story about something like a cryptid or any of that?
I'll explain. I'll use ghost stories as an example. Typically, like a ghost story will cite a place and a time that this thing was seen. Maybe someone who might have, or even with a thing like a chupacabra, they might have said, at this ranch on this date at 3 a.m, this said farmer saw it there. Whereas urban legends, they can't pinpoint what the actual origin is, because some people say, "Oh, it took place in Kansas." No, that story is from Arkansas.
Everyone wants to lay claim to it, right?
Everyone lays claim to it, so there's nothing to link it. It's not like a local they're local legends. Like usually, if you can pinpoint, and to be fair, local legends can be proven false. There's some wonderful Florida local legends where there's about this young girl and like she took her own life, and because she was dating the professor and blah blah, and there's a big cover up, and then her ghost haunts, and then people said, yeah, but no, he never worked there. He was the dean, and this never happened. And this girl never went to that school. They looked her up. You know what I mean? So it's all like this stuff like that. Right? But yeah, usually though, there's some facts in it that you can get to, at least of a time and a place and things like that. Maybe even an individual who it happened to. Like a lot of UFO abduction stories are like this. This person claims they were there when it happened. Yeah.
So I have something about an urban legend that someone had a story about that they actually witnessed this urban legend.
Go. Sure.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pukwudgie, or maybe I should save this for the cryptid thing. I mean,
go for it.
Just go for it, because you can always have other cryptids. Okay.
There is a fine line between, because as I was researching urban legends, I was finding a lot of cryptids, and I was trying to keep the two separate.
It's tricky because there is a blurring sometimes. Yes. Yeah.
So I've never even heard of a Pukwudgie until someone commented on there and were like, "Oh, you should check out the Pukwudgie. No one really talks about it." I'm like, no one talks about it because I've never even heard of them until today. So I looked them up. But I did find this story from this guy named Bill Russo. Has anyone ever heard of the Pukwudgie before?
No, but the name Bob Russo actually sounds familiar, but I'm not placing it.
Here, let me show the
see
if I can share this real quick. It's just the pictures that I have.
There we go.
Yeah, so this is just one of them.
Is that pronounced Pukwudgie?
Pukwudgie, yes.
Okay.
It has its own little well, let me go to a better picture. So this is Bill Russo.
Okay.
Let me just find, this is his book he wrote afterwards. I'm just going to try to find a picture of the actual Pukwudgie. So this is like that.
Warwick Davis.
I was just going to say that's Warwick Davis, who we saw in, he played Wicket the Ewok and Willow and many other things. Yeah.
Don't get me started on the Leprechaun movies. That'd be another stream. Okay.
It should be another stream. Yeah.
Well, the reason I brought up the Leprechaun itself was I wanted to see if this had some sort of relation to there.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
Like maybe that's in there, but
does he give you something?
No. So this photo right here is an artist rendition of what he saw that night. So this is the actual artist rendition. So I'm going to read the story about it. So Bill Russo had no idea that after all those years living in the Hockomock Swamp, that he would encounter a monster until he saw one. So this hairy, pot-bellied creature crept out of the midnight darkness and into a circle of light cast by a street lamp. Bill's encounter unfolds in the quiet town of Rainham near the Hockomock Swamp, Massachusetts. For 6 years, Bill was on the 3 to midnight shift at a nearby ironworks, and after work he took his dog Sam for a walk. Sammy, as he called, was an 80-pound Rottweiler Shepherd mix, and they usually stayed on the sidewalks. But for some reason, Sam headed towards the woods that night at a place called the High Tees. So now they picked their way through the darkness until they came to a cross street. And the High Tees was known for its dark history in itself. So Bill was only about 500 feet from his front door when Sam started pulling on her leash, whimpering and shaking. Eerie cries echoed through the darkness. I'm paraphrasing here. Kerr, Wan Chu. So Bill responded, are you okay? Do you need any help? He thought it might be a toddler or something, but then he noticed something moving in the shadows, and it walked into the light, and the creature appeared and kept uttering, Kerr, Kerr, Kerr. Now the creature stood about 3 or 4 feet tall, covered with a chipmunk face and a pot belly. And when he saw how frightened Sam was, he became just as scared. They backed away and headed home for as fast as possible. So now he realized later that the creature might have been trying to communicate something. Kerr, Kerr could have meant come here, and Wan Shu meaning we want you. So Bill regretted not being brave enough to get closer, but he believed if he had, he might not have lived to tell this tale. Now, some of the history of this originates from Native American legends, specifically the Wampanoag tribe. So these small humanoid creatures are said to possess magical powers and are often described as being little tricksters. And according to the legend, the Pukwudgies were once friendly to humans but turned against them after feeling disrespected. And they are known to use their powers to bewitch, injure, even kidnap people. However, they can't physically harm you or like physically themselves. They can only do it with, a power of their mind. But this all happens, in the Bridgewater Triangle, which I don't know if you know the Bridgewater Triangle. It's a hotbed for paranormal activity, UFO sightings, ghostly apparitions. But he was a skeptic before this, never believing in anything. He actually wrote that book that I have in there that made him kind of reconsider that. But this, like I said, this is a story. So do we trust this story as it is? I mean,
well, okay.
Well,
first,
do you believe in the man's witness? I guess that's one thing, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean,
you don't know, is that, or maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. I'm sorry.
I did many encounters with this stuff. It's like, I mean, it's based on personal testimonies. Like, who am I to say that you didn't see this?
Right.
But we don't know.
Did you give a region for where this takes place?
It was the Hockomock Swamp, like the Bridgewater Triangle. It's in Massachusetts.
I was just gonna say, you said Wampanoag, which would infer to me Massachusetts. So,
yeah.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. So what we're talking about here is, if we think in terms of archetypes, right? You're talking about a diminutive humanoid creature, big-bellied, furry, look, you didn't describe him as grotesque. You described him as like a chipmunk face. That infers to me kind of cute, right? So I'm imagining like hobbits, gnomes, elves. There's an archetype here, right?
Yeah. So this is what he saw, but there are other variations according to legend that it looks like this, that even, but they're all small.
As you go to the more grotesque, you could be thinking goblins, you could be thinking trolls maybe. Yeah. So I do feel like when you start talking about things that are common among cultures, and I'm going to use the term archetype, but I'm not sure archetype is specifically accurate. I feel like either you have stories that are building on each other, which is indicative of urban legends, right? Or you are talking about many interpretations of a real thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which, right? So
That's right. I don't, like I said, it's all up to their, I mean, we keep picking these stories, like every urban legend that has to, they come from somewhere, right?
right.
So there has to be an inkling of truth maybe in there.
And Dulcimeris makes a great point. The little people, those are bad news for most indigenous cultures. The Crow Nation being an exception, they found a mummified one in Wyoming. So this may be one of those situations where we might tend to overgeneralize, right? Maybe there's more than one of these types of little people. You know, it might be the difference between elves and gnomes and gremlins, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Let's just assume the folklore is all literally real, right? You could have a whole host of beings that fill that archetypal slot. Some positive, some negative, some neutral. He goes on to say the little people in Native American folklore are hairy-faced dwarves. Yeah.
And that's why I brought up the association with the leprechauns. Maybe that's just America's version of that is the Pukwudgie.
And this is the kind of thing when you have, and we'll call it urban legends or stories or, you know, folk tales handed down through the generations from cultures that have no connection to each other. Makes you start to wonder, what's the commonality that set them off, right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't take anything at face value, but when you start seeing similarities, you start going, okay, so certain commonalities make me think there must be something to it, right?
That's like when I watch like Ancient Aliens or stuff like that too, with the hieroglyphics and all that.
Nick, have you ever, and I may have mentioned this when you were on with Netter, the idea of the concept of fairies and changelings and the more modern stories of alien abductions. Could they possibly be connected? Just different interpretations of the same, let's call it phenomenon. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
See, so, and depending on what your frame is, you might see these as, well, I don't care if you call them fairies or if you call them aliens. It's all demons if you have a religious bent, right? Or you might be more of a literalist. I don't know, but there does seem to be something there, right?
But like we're saying, like it's all the personal experiences, and someone might not believe in that. So like for me, for instance, when I witness that the paranormal activity and stuff that I've seen, you know, someone might not believe me, but I know what I saw. So that guy, that Bill guy, knows what he saw.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I mean, let's be honest. What is the common psychological mantra? Introspection always changes the experience, right? So you feel like you can't really rely on your own interpretation of things, but at the same time, who else can be objective about it? You know, I mean, all I can do is explain what I saw. I can tell you what I think I saw and how I interpret it, but, you know, absent and, you know, video evidence that is unbiased, all you have to do is rely on, you know, what I said. That almost brings up a whole other element to this. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is we've talked about urban legends. We have talked about creepypastas and the whole internet meme era that relates directly to it. now we're starting to get into an era of being able to create analog horror, where people are literally taking the concept of a creepypasta and dramatizing it using their own, very, low budget special effects and whatnot to great effect. And bringing about potentially a collective consciousness, where you have a situation where a creepypasta like Slender Man, this story is created in Reddit and so forth and told and added on to by other people in the community. Then somebody on YouTube takes it and creates a video using, artwork and animation to continue the story. And then you got a couple of girls committing a murder because they believe in this urban legend.
I think we talked about that before. Like, if you talk about something,
you did a video
are you
about this,
speaking that into existence?
Yeah.
Even any urban legend, like when you create that story, or if you just made it up, did you just put that out there for it to actually be created?
And there's the whole Lovecraftian collective conscious concept of like the not quoto, that's a D&D term, but the deep ones creating their own god from their own belief in it, to literally a copycat murderer who takes an urban legend and wants to make it real, which has happened. I mean, that Slender Man is kind of an example, but I mean, it's this brings about the supernatural, fantastical element of the urban legend, and the urban legend that is based on the real world, which can be scary in and of itself. Right? I mean, there are horrible stories out there just from the basic news. These serial killers and so forth. You don't need to invent anything. You just tell the story of, for those of us that lived in the Midwest, John Wayne Gacy. The cop clown who murdered young boys in very horrendous ways. For people of my generation, when he was executed, I can't speak for many people that lived in the Chicagoland area, but I stayed up till midnight on the night he was executed just to get word that he was gone. He was kind of the real world boogeyman for my generation.
What if it's like that movie Shocker, where they put him in the chair and then he used black magic and now he's in the electrical system? Remember that movie Shocker, Wes Craven's Shocker?
Well, then there's Lawnmower Man, right? That starts to incorporate the concept of AI and
virtual reality and all this stuff. Yeah. But I remember.
But is that not what storytelling is? It is this way for us to work through our fears through storytelling. And it blurs the line because there are some that want to take those stories and make them into reality, right? And then there is just the real world fear of real things, right? So as we talk about things like serial killers and whatnot, these are real things to be afraid of. This is not urban legend. John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer are not urban legends. They were real people that killed real people. And I
don't know if you believe in the energy of things too, but when I went to Vegas and I went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, and he has an exhibit there, and he had like the serial killer exhibit, and in that room it has Ted Bundy's glasses, it's got artwork from John Wayne Gacy, all these memorabilia, if you could call it, and it's just such a weird, dark feeling the moment you walk into that room too.
Real quick, I want to say hi to Scott Hughes, and I want to ask how long you been lurking before you said anything. Welcome, my friend. It's good to see you. Well, that makes me think of, and I can't remember the movie that I saw it in. I think it was one of the Addams Family movies. Addams Family Values. They had trading cards of serial killers. And it turns out that that's a real thing. And I don't know.
Was it a thing when the movie came out, though?
I don't know. I don't know which came first. I don't know if the movie was referencing something real, or someone saw the movie and said, hey, that would be a good idea, and then started making collector's cards of real serial killers. Jeez. But, yeah, I mean, and let's face it, in this modern age, you know, with Etsy and whatnot, anyone can make anything. And I'm not disparaging that. I'm saying there's room for all interests. If you can make money on it, I don't hold it against you. Go for it, you know. But just saying. But yeah. Okay, so he just tuned in and he jumps in like he's been listening all along. I see what you're doing there. You're messing with my head, my drunken head. But real quick, let me just jump in here and share one. So has anyone ever heard of the Jane Addams Hull House and Devil Baby?
I have.
Well, of course you have, because I went for a Chicago local one. Does anyone else
Devil
know?
Baby.
So I just dropped a link for you guys to check this out. This is a local one. The Jane Addams Hull House is a real place. It's a museum here in Chicago. There is no big mystery about that. Look up Jane Addams if you're interested in, you know, feminism and all that kind of stuff. She's a big contributor to the history of women's rights and so forth. But she created this charity, you know, the Hull House, and somehow this legend sprung up around it of this baby that someone had that was some sort of possessed evil demon that, you know, lived in the Hull House in one of the upper floors, and you could see the glowing eyes in the window and all this kind of stuff. Oh yeah.
Stay out of there.
So I dropped the link so you guys can look into it a little bit more. This is one of those urban legends where it revolves around real people, real locations, a real museum, and the museum going, we don't know what you're talking about. You know, we got nothing here. In a way, it's a little bit similar to the Peabody's tomb that I shared about, which is another local story from the last video. There's the real story, and then there's the urban legend. It's very easy to separate the two, and I don't want to poo-poo the urban legend, but let's be honest. The real story is the real story, and you can believe what you want beyond that. Just saying. But there you go. The Jersey Devil we will almost certainly talk about when we get into the cryptids. Absolutely. That'll be a future stream. Possibly in the next week or two, we're going to pull Age of Boomer. Of course we're going to bring Age of Boomer into it. He's my co-pilot. But
my best childhood friend,
Big Al.
He was a Rangers fan. It caused controversy. Because when you live in New Jersey, you're not supposed to be you're supposed to be a Devils fan, not a Rangers fan. New York Rangers, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I know that site is not a secure site, but honestly, go ahead and do a Google search of Jane Addams Hull House. You don't have to go to the specific site.
Did they used to call it Jane Addams Hell House?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but they should damn well have. Now that you bring that up, that's perfect.
To the devil with this child, and no, I'm sorry, that's the Jersey Devil.
we've talked about a lot of urban legends tonight. Some of them completely fictional, Some of them.
No, Neiman Marcus one I still think is true.
Some of them based on some kernel of truth. Sadly, some of them are 100% true.
Uh-oh.
And I am not going to talk too much about this one.
Why?
The Now Girl of New Jersey. So
what? I never heard of this.
Exactly, because Age Boomer, you're from New Jersey. I started looking into urban legends from New Jersey.
Legends, yes.
And I came across this video by a YouTuber named Stop Culture. Don't know anything about him because this is the only video of his that I've seen so far. I'm linking to it because I'm talking about it, and I think that's fair. Go check it out. But by the time I got halfway through this video, I was depressed because it really seems to be based on a real story of a real girl who experienced some real trauma. It's a very sad story, and part of me is hoping against hope that there is no truth to it and somebody's just capitalizing on a story and looking for attention, but I don't think that's the case. I don't want to talk anymore about this particular legend. Go check it out for yourself if you're really, really interested.
That sounds rather dark from what you're describing.
It's a story about a girl who was abused, resulting in a multiple personality disorder, and that resulted in further abuse. And it's just a horrible, sad story.
Okay.
Despite everything about this that seems to imply that it was real, I'm hoping it's not. Going to date myself back during the days of home phones. Yes, it was a thing. Yeah, analog landlines, right? I used to hang on your wall or sit next to the couch on the end table. I would pick up the phone when someone would call. Max Morgue House, you stab him, we slab him. So my uncle owned a marina in Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio. Charles Mill Lake, it was Doc Sawyer's Marina, if you want to look it up. But they used to, on occasion when they were feeling silly, because it was in Mifflin County, Ohio, they would answer the phone. Mifflin Waterworks, which drip would you like to talk to? People would get confused. Some people would hang up. Just.
Can't anymore. You stab, we slab.
I like that.
The other one?
Absolutely.
Oh, there was another one we used to do. I can't remember it now. But yes, those were the ones that we used to answer with. Can't anymore. You stab, we slab.
I'm descended from farmers. That's all I'm going to say about that last statement.
Jesse, I have not heard about the dark version of the ghost hitchhiker girl. Nick, is this something you're familiar with?
We talked about the Phantom Hitchhiker last stream.
Yeah, we talked about like Resurrection Mary and stuff like that. But if there's a darker version than that, Jesse, you're going to have to educate us.
There was one from Korea where the one who picks him up dies of a horrible disease after he finds out she's been dead. Like, that was added in the Korean version of that story. But I don't know. Have you heard anything?
I get the feeling that the Asian legends and the Western versions tend to be... I feel like the Eastern versions tend to be much darker, and the Western versions tend to be a little bit... scary, but relatively safe,
I don't know.
Actually, I think about it, when you look at the Japanese versions of horror films and the American versions of the same film, that tends to bear out.
Yeah, that's
I do feel like the Western audience demands a kind of, if not a happy ending, the possibility of a happy ending, whereas the Eastern stories are like, no, fuck it. This is what it is. Screw it. Deal with it.
Do you know of this dark version of the Hitchhiker story, Nick?
I don't. I know I think I know the non-dark version, but I don't know.
I was just going to say, Resurrection Mary seems dark enough as it is. This soul.
I have to write that down to look it up.
The whole, caught up in the cycle of taking rides from people to the cemetery where she's been laid to rest. She doesn't seem to be at rest. I mean, that in and of itself seems dark. But romanticize is the word you're looking for. That's exactly it. We wanna gild the lily a little bit, make it a little bit easier to, I would say, buffer the dark stories so that they're easier to digest. Here in Dallas, the ghost hitchhiker is better known as the Lady of the Lake. Interesting. Kind of combining the Resurrection Mary story with the whole Arthurian kind of thing. Supposedly she's less and less a kind lost young woman, and now she looks more like someone who has survived a car crash.
I wonder if this is a modern take on that old one. Maybe that's been circulated.
There's an interesting ghost story. This isn't so much an urban legend, more of a ghost story in Eastern, legend of a ghost or demon. I'm not sure you can separate the two in Eastern folklore. Something demonic, horrific looking, that if you don't receive her as attractive, she'll kill you. So you have to have this spirit of, regardless of what your outer appearance is, I don't judge you based on that. It's an interesting concept, but it's from a horrific standpoint an impossibility. Just if you pick her up and give her a ride, she'll scream at you to come. Oh, is that if you don't pick her up, she'll scream at you to come back? Sounds like a banshee type story.
Yeah, a lot of those car ones.
Yeah,
it's like,
he corrected himself. If you don't pick her up.
a guy's leaving a dance hall or something, and he sees this girl, on the side of the road, and she says she needs a
We
ride
talked
home.
about that last time.
Yeah, and it's like, so she gets in the car with him. He's driving, and he starts talking to her, and then he looks over, and she's not there anymore.
It makes you wonder when you hear these stories, these urban legends, right, that are all very similar. And from what I know from John Solo and folklore, and how folklore tends to fall into categories, it feels like urban legends are a kind of folklore, and they tend to fall into these categories. And I almost feel like in the retelling, you have people that tell the story and want it to apply to their local region. So they may change the location, they may change the names, but the concepts are the same. So I think the research behind it is oftentimes to, what is the earliest version of this story that I can find? And that gets you the closest you can to either the person who created the story or some reality, some kernel of truth that the story is based on.
It's like if you tell a story to 100 people, it's not going to be the same when it reaches that 100th person.
But if you can track down the first person in that line that told the story, you'll get the closest version, right? That's kind of how history is. History is exactly the same way. We have myths and legends, but when you trace them all the way back, if you can get to the very first time the story was told, it's the closest you can get, to, and you assume the most truth is there. Look up Lavinia Fisher and the Charleston, South Carolina City Jail. I have toured the jail at midnight on October 30th. By the same token, although I've had many opportunities and just haven't availed myself of it. Mansfield, Ohio, the state penitentiary, which is where Shawshank Redemption was filmed. They have a tour that you can take that shows you the filming locations. from Shawshank Redemption, and I think there were some other films that were filmed there. But they have a whole separate tour you can take that is the haunted tour, because there's all kinds of stories about spirits and hauntings at that particular prison. So something worth checking out too. Was Candyman based on a real urban legend? Tony Todd rocks. So let me tell you, that is set in Chicago.
Yeah.
I saw a screening of the first Candyman here in Chicago. Tony Todd appeared. Actually, a lot of us that had attended a particular convention got free passes. That's why we were there. Didn't get a chance to talk to Tony Todd there. Talked to him at the convention. Didn't get to see him at the theater. He was up in the mezzanine, and he just made a brief appearance and whatnot. Netter and I actually knew one of the extras in the movie Candyman. There's a what do you call it? A group chat. What do you call it? A support group of people that have that are recovering from narcotic addictions. One of the actresses that was in that scene went to our church. Just a little connection.
Yeah.
May not have even seen the movie if it hadn't been that we knew someone in it, so we checked it out.
Cool.
And so is it based on a real urban legend? To my knowledge, no. I never heard the story of Candyman before this movie. But I'll tell you what, it's kind of become an urban legend since. Just like we were talking about that story of When a Stranger Calls. Starts out as a film. People retell the story as if it was real, and it kind of becomes an urban legend. But thankfully, these are stories that you can trace back and go, oh, okay, I see where this story came from. This one actually is fiction, But let me get caught up here. The theory is that since her parents aren't around anymore to receive her at home, the spirit is upset. No, I can understand that. Welcome, Janet from another planet. I went to Alcatraz. It was awesome. Let me tell you, I would love to know when it was that you went, because I went sometime in the 80s. Not specifically at Alcatraz. I was in San Francisco in the 80s visiting family, and we couldn't go to Alcatraz. It was closed because of upkeep issues, and I guess there's a lot of flooding that's been happening. I'm wondering if you went before that or since, because I feel like I missed an opportunity not being able to tour Alcatraz. Welcome, Joe's Atmosphere. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Narcotics Anonymous. I don't know if that was the name within the movie, but yes, that's the kind of thing I was talking about. They also have night tours at Alcatraz. I heard that one of the things they did at Alcatraz that I was looking forward to, didn't get to experience, is they'll lock you up in solitary.
No.
For apparently a short period of time, but it seems a lot longer than it really was.
I would do it.
I would too. I would too. But here's what I have heard.
Is it
this whole concept of solitary is a kind of legalized torture. There's a real problem in our legal system, in our prison system. I'm just going to say that. Lavinia was the first documented female serial killer. Her last words were, "Save your words for others that want them, but if you have a message you want sent to hell, give it to me, I'll carry it." Interesting.
Was it Marble said something earlier about that story of the ghost, or was it similar to the highway ghost or like the lady in white?
Tell us the difference. We talked a lot about the highway ghost, the Resurrection Mary. What is the lady in white?
I'd have to ask her.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I've heard that name before, though.
Yes.
I've heard it. Yes, I mean, like she
That sounds familiar, but
was she a bad omen or something
I
bad was
think so.
associated with her? Yeah.
All I
rings a
can think
bell.
of is it Richard Marx? I can't remember who sang it. Lady in Red is dancing with me, which is not what you guys are talking about. I know. Someone trying to get it. Troy, I know for a fact that Friday the 13th may have been inspired by the real-life Lake Bodon murder in Finland in June 5th, 1960. Well, my understanding is it goes way farther back than that to the conspiracy revolving around the Knights Templar. And that gets into all kinds of Catholic legend and story.
Well,
but,
now I'm trying to figure out, when did Bay of Blood come out, which was a Mario Bava movie that was considered one of the earliest versions of a slasher movie, and that was in 71. Interesting, because they had considered that some of the kills in A Bay of Blood are basically repeated in Friday the 13th, like the skewer between the bed with the pike that was done in Bay of Blood. Interesting.
So Mabel says that the lady in white is a type of female ghost that is often depicted wearing a white dress and is associated with local legends of tragedy. So that sounds like the kind of urban... See, and I feel like this is the kind of thing where urban legends can become conflagrated. Conflagrated? Is that the right word?
Conflagrated? Yeah, I think so.
Conflagrated, yes.
Yeah, they may be combined together, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the Resurrection Mary, the Lady in White, and it seems like they're very closely related. So I think that people in the retelling could conflate. That's what I'm trying to say. Conflate these two stories into one. That could be the evolution of some of these urban legends.
I'm going about the Knights Templar. You would like the Curse of Oak Island? That show.
I don't know that one.
I haven't watched that show. I did watch an episode of William Shatner's The Unexplained, where he went into Oak Island, and supposedly one of the legends is the Ark of the Covenant on Oak Island, because the Knights Templar dropped it off there and hid it.
Yes. That's a crazy show, and they
know that one.
There was supposedly that the legend there is that I forget how many people had to die in order for this legend to be discovered, and they're just missing one person right now. So one more has to die for the legend to reveal itself, or for the treasure to be revealed.
That, yes.
See, that's interesting because I heard that the Ark of the Covenant was either in Ethiopia, or if you want to believe Steven Spielberg, in Area 51. I think the Ethiopia one is a little bit more likely.
Wait a minute. Yes. Yeah, he did a whole special on the Ark of the Covenant, and I thought that was interesting that Ethiopia was one of the ones. I buy that. It's like by a very old Christian sect, I think, and apparently a bunch of people defended this building where they think it was from people, I guess, when there was a revolution of the army was going in there, and tens of thousands of people died defending this building. This was only like a decade ago or something. So something's in there that they felt willing enough to die for. So
I got a buddy who is a big Bible apologist who believes in all kinds of proofs and truths about the Bible and so forth, and he believes that the Ark of the Covenant is held by a sect in Ethiopia that considers themselves the direct religious, spiritual descendants, if not literal descendants, of the Levites.
Right.
That took the Ark of the Covenant before it could be lost to, what was it, the Romans, the Babylonians, I forget, and secreted it away to Egypt, specifically Ethiopia, and that's where it's kept. It's not seen by anybody because the Levites always had to keep the Ark of the Covenant in the holiest of holies. Only the Levites were allowed to attend to it. The average person wasn't allowed to lay eyes upon it. And apparently this is all part of the plan for returning it to the Temple Mount when it can be in Jerusalem. Of course, if you know anything about the history of the Temple Mount and the whole, Islam versus Israel situation, it doesn't seem like it can happen anytime soon. But if it ever becomes a possibility, they will return the Ark of the Covenant to be returned to the Temple Mount. And I guess there has to be a sacrifice of these certain, crimson bovines, these red calves or whatever, which they have been working to genetically engineer.
I heard about that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know anything about. I only know this secondhand, so I don't know. I'm sorry, Nick. What were you saying?
I only heard about that from the show South Park.
I'm sure that was on there because this is
South Park has a tendency to take real world, stuff and kind of lampoon it and stuff. So you figure they got it from somewhere, right? So I don't know, man. This becomes one of those things where is it the spooky revelation, becoming reality, or is it just people reading a folklore and trying to make it into reality? Either way, I don't know, man.
Hey,
it's something. Yeah.
But doesn't Oak Island also have phantom animals on it? If I was remembering that special correctly.
Nick might know better than I
Phantom
would.
animals.
Like a leopard or something. Maybe I misheard something. I don't know. I thought that was a thing.
I'm not quite sure.
Because they were talking about ghost type things on the island as well, and it was just
I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure, but it's maybe haunted. But I know they found stuff that goes all the way back to the 11th century. There, they found these roads that could have been made by, even the Romans. It goes back pretty far, and it's you have to watch it. It's about 25 minutes of actual content, and then the other 25 minutes is them talking about what they found too. And then the next episode will be the 10 minutes of what we found last episode, and then tie it into this. So there's really only 15 to 20 minutes of actual content per episode, but it is worth it. I like the show. They do find out that there is something there. The current season, they're actually going inside the ground to try to get this, and they have discovered that there is actual gold in the island based on all these tests that they've ran.
So someone will get a fortune someday, maybe.
Yes.
Speaking of the Ark of the Covenant, have you guys heard the theory that the Ark of the Covenant? Okay, so part of the folklore behind the Ark of the Covenant is if you touch it directly, you will die.
Yes.
And all of that stuff in Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course, is a dramatization of real folklore about the Ark of the Covenant. You look upon it, you'll die, all this kind of stuff. There's a theory based on that whole Egyptian, I don't know what's called, the Egyptian battery or whatever.
Yes, I've heard this, yes.
So this idea that the Ark of the Covenant is like a big battery.
Yeah,
the same concept.
It draws electricity to it that way. Yeah,
because you got these golden cherub on top acting as the cathodes, and maybe what was contained in it was the alkaline and base that would create an electrical current, and if you touched it wrong you get zapped and die.
Right. That was in the
totally
special.
get
That was in the special Shatner did on the Ark of the Covenant. He had a scientist.
Oh, I
talking
never
about
even saw that. I'll have to check this out.
This is part of the unexplained. Yeah, he did. They did a whole episode on the Ark of the Covenant. They talked about how, a certain group in the 1940s was desperate to find it. What I mean?
A certain group with
yes,
that was led by a guy with a really icky looking mustache.
Yes,
okay,
that's what I'm talking about.
about.
Yes. So that actually was real in Raiders. That actually was really going on. They were
So
scouring the
both
world.
Raiders and Captain America talking about those particular guys looking for stuff in the desert. That was actually true.
Yes,
that was actually true. Mm-hmm. One of these days we should probably do a topic on that. Well, actually, let me take that back. We'll probably end up talking about that one day on a Tuesday on Deleted Scenes channel because as we talk about Twin Peaks and the lore around Twin Peaks, we will necessarily, as we go into season 3, have to talk about Thelema and Aleister Crowley and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that there on his channel on some Tuesday. And Nick, are you following what I'm talking about, or is this all like Okay. I should know you. You and I are probably on the same wavelength on these kind of things. I can talk about things obliquely, and you're like, I know what he's talking about. We've chewed some of the same. Let's say some of the same esoteric ground, probably when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
What's this? The expeditions.
Oh yeah.
SS did. Yeah, no, yeah. Like I said, we'll probably be. This is why I said, Mark, you need to be following us on Tuesday over on Deleted Scenes channel. We are going to be. Mark is a practicing Buddhist, and you cannot be a Twin Peaks fan, a David Lynch fan, without understanding Buddhism and the folklore thereof. And I promised him that as we get into season 3 of Twin Peaks, we will be talking a lot more about exactly that, the folklore of the tulpas and the doppelgangers, the White and the Black Lodge, the
people getting stuck in pieces of wood. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yes,
or that just, okay,
it is.
I didn't know if that
no,
was
you're not wrong. There is a reason for that. We will be talking more about that. Nick, I don't know if you are a Twin Peaks fan at all.
I'm not seeing it.
But if you understood anything of what I just said about that area of folklore, maybe follow Deleted Scenes on Tuesday, and you might enjoy. If you've never seen Twin Peaks, we're doing a deep dive on it. We're trying to help people get into it. So
and this Tuesday.
So every Tuesday on Deleted Scenes. Well, all of us here on the Age of Boomer, Netter, we simulcast it. So if you're following us, you'll see us go live on Tuesday with it. We did the first episode just this past Tuesday,
but yes,
you haven't missed too much. If you want to jump in, any time is a great time.
Right.
Our goal is to our primary goal is to share Twin Peaks, this piece of lore that we have enjoyed so much that we would love to share with as many people as possible. A lot of people think that it's incredibly complicated, and it kind of is. It kind of helps to have a guide going into it, but it's a fun ride, and it's totally worth it. And I feel like it's the kind of thing that would be kind of up your alley.
It sounds good.
Have you discussed the Philadelphia experiment? No, not on this channel. We haven't yet. Nick, do you have a video about the Philadelphia experiment?
Not yet. That's actually in our lineup of stuff to talk about.
Ooh, that's
Boomer
interesting.
we didn't do there's a movie with Michael Pare.
I've
Did
seen
we
the
do
movie,
that?
but no, I don't think you've ever done that.
'Cause
movie,
I just rewatched it recently, and I kind of felt like it was something we might have done, but I guess we didn't.
Doesn't ring a bell. I know I've watched it before ages ago, but yeah.
I love that movie. It's not exactly a perfect representation of the legend, but you know who has done a story on the Philadelphia experiment, and I'm surprised we haven't brought him up previously. I think someone in the chat mentioned the Y-Files. The Y-Files has talked about the Philadelphia experiment. Nick, I have to assume you've heard of the Y-Files, right?
No, I have not.
Dude, you would be doing yourself a favor. Check out the Y-Files. WHY Y-Files on YouTube. It's a great channel that covers probably a lot of the same lore you do in a different way. Entertaining, but very, very different from what you do. I think you would enjoy it though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Deleted Scenes, who's here commenting. The more the merrier.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
He's the guy to follow I feel like he is like he's David Lynch's spirit animal. he has so much in common, and he and I are like on the same wavelength when it comes to Twin Peaks and all of that Lynchian type lore. But Deleted Scenes had said he started his channel inspired by Coast to Coast with who was the bloke that hosted Coast to Coast?
We just talked about him. I can't now.
Was his first name
man.
Art?
Art Bell. Thank you.
Yes.
Art Bell,
okay,
Coast to Coast. Yeah. There was another guy that I was thinking of too, but Art Bell is fine. So, yeah, he started his channel based on that, even though he doesn't necessarily cover all the same like urban legend, ghostly type stuff. But Y-Files definitely does. Definitely is inspired by that kind of concept. For all we know, there could be people who know where the Ark of the Covenant is and have done their best to protect it. Misleading in location. Yeah, no. So, like I said, if these priests in Ethiopia are to be believed, they're doing exactly that. Remember, the lore behind the Ark of the Covenant is that only the tribe of Levi, the Levites, could attend to the Ark of the Covenant. They needed to protect it in the holiest of holies and hide it away from the view of everyone else. So, yeah, I could totally buy that. Philadelphia experiment was a degaussing experiment. Some say they simply took a shorter route up north and slipped up there with no supernatural happenings. Yes, I've heard that story too. I hate to be the devil's advocate here, but I will say that if you were trying to cover up a black ops type operation, isn't that the exact kind of story that you would tell to cover it up? But it's very interesting, this idea that a simple, and so when he says degaussing experiment, it was an electrical experiment trying to find a way to combat magnetic mines that were plaguing, naval ships. Very simple science, very simple tactics, right? But imagine finding something that you weren't anticipating when you were looking for something else, scientifically speaking. I'm sure it happens all the time. Just to keep the idea of the story alive. Have you ever heard of the urban legend of the U-boat 85? I have not. Nick, no?
Mm-mm.
You're going to have to fill us in, Jesse. I don't know. I don't know that one. Do you know the urban legend about the French submarine Surcouf? It was a submersible battle cruiser that vanished. I don't know that one either.
Sounds like Bermuda Triangle sort of stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. When it comes to planes and ships disappearing, I tend to have a very Occam's razor thought process to them. These things crash all the time, and you never find any debris because the ocean is vast. So I tend not to go for the crazy supernatural idea behind it, but if you can find some sort of supporting evidence, I'd be open to it. I hate to go with, but I'm gonna. Okay, well, you are the tired blogger, so I understand, Curtis Selby. Take care and have a great one. That is assuming you're still here. Take care, man. Scott Hughes, Nikola Tesla could be in a tire. Oh, dude, Nick, do you have a story or a show about Nikola Tesla? Because that's a topic.
No, yeah, that's in there too.
You got that in the hopper. I have no doubt about that. Death ray, X-ray, wireless free electricity. Killed by J.P. Morgan because he wanted to make money off electricity. Not just J.P. Morgan. What's his name?
Who? Edison.
Edison, yes.
Y'all, everyone.
I was just talking about this the other day, not specifically about conspiracy theories, but the mad scientist Nikola Tesla and the genius marketer of Edison, right? Who stole not just Nikola Tesla's stuff, but all kinds of people's stuff.
Watch yourself. He is considered a state hero in New Jersey. Did you know that, Edison?
New Jersey is corrupt, my friend.
My goodness. You're
but
just
then again, I'm in Chicago. Chicago's corrupt too. So who
I'm
am I
in New York.
Are you talking
about
the...
fuck it, man. We're talking about the unholy trinity here.
Hey,
fuck.
Hey, what about the conspiracy about the European gentleman that created the first operating film camera, gets on a train, he and his equipment are never seen again, and some suspect that Edison had something to do with it. That's always been a weird legend, that this that someone beat Edison to the actual film camera, and that he disappeared on a train.
We talk about
Yes.
conspiracy theories as if you've got to be crazy to believe them, but unfortunately, history is bearing out that the vast majority of so-called conspiracy theories turn out to be true.
Don't get me started on the John Wilkes Booth conspiracy theory.
Dude, let's just talk about some of the conspiracy theories from the past 5 years that have proven to be true. Just saying. All of us that were shouting, look, I don't know anything, but this deserves to be looked at. And we were shouted down and called istophobes and anti-science people, only to find out we were right. Just saying.
It all ends with follow the money.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What is it? Cui bono? Who profits? Always ask yourself, cui bono? Who profits? And when you do that, suddenly you're a friggin' conspiracy theorist. Just saying. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying it in a realist sort of way. During World War I, U-boat 85 was attacked by a sea monster. The crew tried their best to fight it off. When the battle was over, the ship was damaged and the crew had to abandon it. The crew of the U-boat 85 were crewed by the Royal Navy. I've heard so many versions of this story. Yeah. No, I had not heard this one before. We have an urban legend around here about a witch buried out at Loon Lake that inspired the 2019 movie called Loon Lake. Crazy thing, I'm always out at the filming locations. Yeah, see, that's the thing too. I mean, even complete fictions, right? When they set them someplace and they're filmed. See, here's another thing. I was just talking about Twin Peaks, right? And Netter and I just did we hijacked a Deleted Scenes channel one night for a Tuesday night special where we talked about our experience with the Twin Peaks festivals, visiting the filming locations and so forth. We've obliquely talked about the fact the filming locations as opposed to where they're supposed to actually be in the world of Twin Peaks. They're close to each other but not exactly lining up. Some of those filming locations obviously are in California around Hollywood, but of course they're supposed to be either in Washington State or in Canada for story purposes. But so we feel like we've actually been to these fictional places, right? But when you are dealing with a legend that takes place in a real place, like some of the urban legends that I've talked about, Netter and I have actually visited because we live here in the Chicagoland area, Peabody's Tomb and, Jane Addams' Hull House and so forth. We've actually been to these locations. So, I'm not saying that we have any great insight, that we witnessed anything, but we've been to these locations. We know, the setting for these stories. That in and of itself can send a little bit of a chill up your spine,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A German crew abandoned their ship. They'd need to scuttle and make sure the British did not attempt to recover the military. Yeah, that's a military concept. Absolutely true. So I've been very focused on the chat because they've had some great input. Nick, did you have any other urban legends you wanted to share with us?
None right now.
Man, this has been a great conversation. I've had a lot of fun with this. I have no doubt we'll probably pick this up again. We'll probably do a part 3, if for no other reason than we have an excuse to bring you back. And maybe bring Brandon
tons of
in
legends.
if he's ever available. Yeah, there's almost an infinite number of urban legends we can draw on. I do feel like Hollywood not only Hollywood in the movies, but also YouTube and Reddit and all of them. We said that the urban legends were the stories we told word of mouth before the internet, but now we have a new medium to share these stories. And some of them, like I said, are dramatizations from Hollywood. Some of them are YouTube videos. Some of them are Reddits. Actually, there's a lot of crossover because sometimes this stuff starts as a Reddit thread. Someone is inspired to make a movie, or whatever, a YouTube video that becomes a movie, whatever. So, yeah, this is, look, we have a new technology called the internet. We have a new technology, the cinema. But honestly, it's just a new way of sharing the same stories that have been shared for generations around campfires, in schoolyards, wherever.
Slumber parties.
Yeah, exactly. The
water cooler.
Those of you that don't know the concept of a slumber party, yeah. I don't know if the kids even still do those kinds of things. I always like the legends of lost treasure. Oak Island is one. There's an island in one of the Great Lakes. It was buried payroll in gold. The Flying Dutch gold mine and in the Southwest USA. What is the one? There was a ship that went down in the Great Lakes. Oh, damn it. There's a famous song. Something Gitchy Goomy. Oh, gosh. Somebody's going to know the song.
Well, you can sing it on the next stream. No, I'm kidding. I know. Actually, it may not be copyrighted. There you go.
Let's see here. No, not that one. 10 Great Lake Shipwrecks. Griffin. Edmund Fitzgerald! The story of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh, the record
right?
of Edmund Fitzgerald, just like the song.
That's what I was trying to think of, was the song of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah. That's yeah,
Well,
so
if you said Gordon Lightfoot,
I'm too drunk to make those connections, right? I was lucky I could think of Gitchigumi. I don't even know how that connects to the story. But,
yeah, it's in the song.
I know, but I don't know. What is it? The Wreck
Of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
of the... Yeah, there it is. Song by Gordon Lightfoot. Lyrics. Here we go. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call
Gitchigumi.
Gitchigumi. The lake is said never gives up its dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron and 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty, that good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. Yeah, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot. Great song. I don't remember it, and if I did, I'm pretty fuzzy right now because great number of martinis that I've been drinking tonight. But you guys can check it out for yourself. If I get a sizable super chat next week, maybe I could be induced to sing it. Because let's face it, if I don't get a super chat, I lose my my monetization when I break the copyright algorithms or YouTube whatever. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. Dude, I had a fight for over a week and a half to remove a copyright strike I got on a song that I literally had the licensing agreement for. I literally had paid to be able to use a song. I had the proof, but there was no way to share it with YouTube. YouTube strikes me, and twice I had to go back to him and say, look, if you give me a friggin' link where I could share the licensing information, you can see I have the right to this song, damn it. They finally lifted it yesterday.
Well, that's good.
Not that it matters because I don't receive any AdSense yet. I haven't gotten enough watch time, but that reminds me, something I want to bring up with you, Nick. Nick, I know you have enough subscribers to be monetized, but do you have the watch hours yet?
Don't have the watch hours yet.
Okay, guys, I am asking you not only to subscribe, link pinned to the top here, go check out the channel. Believe me, trust me, you will enjoy the content. I would not be suggesting Nick's channel if I didn't think you would really love everything that he does over there. And just start watching. Just start watching. Start at the first one and just play all. You know, hit pause, come back to it the next day. Just keep watching. Let's get his watch hours up because this is a channel that, despite having enough subscribers, is not yet monetized because, I'm sorry, fuck YouTube. He really should be monetized already because YouTube is monetizing his channel. If you go to his channel, you're going to be getting ads. He gets none of that money because fuck YouTube. That's why. So let's help him out here.
Appreciate that.
You guys all with me?
Yep.
I appreciate it.
I'm here.
Guys. I know you guys are all subscribed. Go give him the watch time now. Okay? That's what I'm asking you to do.
Well, thank you.
Because we got a great what do we always say? Together we grow, right?
Yes.
Because Pops is awesome. And Max World Entertainment, In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Right?
Absolutely.
That is why I love this group of people. I would not be monetized today if it weren't for these guys in the chat. And I'm asking you to help out Nick and Brandon and Beyond the Hub podcast. You will thank me later. You absolutely will. Anyway, we should start wrapping this up because I know that Aged Boomer needs to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have way taken advantage of Nick. I know I have.
This is fun, though.
Yeah.
Let me go around the horn. You know what? I'm going to move you guys around here. So we'll start with Nick. Nick, what have you got coming up on Beyond the Hub podcast? You want to let people know, kind of give them a little sneaky peek to get them excited.
I just had it, and I just forgot what we're coming up. It's because Brandon's off for a week. He's got to do some.
He's slacking on you.
He's not. He's going to visit his family. But okay, yeah. This is a cool one. We got some topic. It's astral projection and like lucid dreaming.
Dude, I was, as soon as you said astral projection, I'm like, is he going to say lucid dreaming? I have been. When that video comes up, I will have some comments to make on that because I've done
I always
some
worry
lucid
about
dreaming.
lucid dreaming, like you might get trapped there or something.
And Brandon has a personal story that he's going to discuss too.
I want to hear it.
Okay.
I do want to hear it. I have done some lucid dreaming myself. I feel like it's like a mental hack of your dreams. It's like being able to write your own, for you Star Trek people, like a holodeck story or like a virtual reality. Do whatever you want. But there is a close connection between lucid dreaming and night terrors.
Interesting.
Just in the way that dreaming works in the brain. And you can use one to access the other. Obviously, you want to go, oh, I'm having a night terror. Let me be aware of this and change the script. And suddenly it becomes a pretty awesome lucid dream. You probably don't want to go the other route. You don't want to go the other way around.
And we'll talk about sleep paralysis too in there.
Yes, very closely related. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Oh, God, I'm looking forward to that. Guys, this is why I recommend other channels to you, because I get excited about them. So, good. I'll be looking forward to that. And you do you do regular live chats? I've been in some of your live chats, but are they regularly scheduled, or are they like, seat of your pants kind of thing?
Every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we pick like 3 stories from our Facebook group and we talk about them.
Guys, that's 6 p.m. Central, so there's no reason you couldn't jump into the live stream of Beyond the Hub podcast on Mondays and then come on over for Monday Night at the Movies over on
Absolutely.
Last Call. So just saying, guys. Good. Awesome. Boomer, what have you got coming up in the next week? I know, but you need to.
Well, this Sunday we'll be on with Geeky Geezers.
You gave me a lot of shit. I still have to get those notes together. It's like there's no way we're going to get that covered on Sunday.
Well, then
That's
we'll
a
cut
lot.
some out. Well, I'll cut some out then.
Okay,
I'll
I'll
look
put
through
it
them
together
again.
and you better edit it.
Look, I'll cut them out tomorrow night. If you get it to me tomorrow night, I can
Yeah,
just
I
send
will.
you a revised list. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of news, man.
There's a lot that happened this week, yes.
I don't know. I felt like this was a light week, though. I don't know. I guess we could knock the haunted.
It's like every 25 minutes I'm getting a ding. Oh, another message from deleted.
Tell you
scenes
what.
on me.
If I have time before I go to bed, I'll tell you get rid of this, get rid of that one. But I don't know.
No, you know what? It might be easier for you. Just let me put the notes
okay.
together and you edit it from
All
there.
right, well, just get it to me tomorrow, and then
I
I'll tell
will.
you what I edited out. All right, okay.
I will. So yeah, Geeky Geezers, 8 Central, 9 Eastern,
9 Eastern,
over on,
yes.
on Aged Boomer's channel on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's all you yourself have, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, again, I'll be on Deleted Scenes stream with you on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
let's mention that right now. We've talked about it throughout the night. So Tuesday nights at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, we are doing a watch party and deep dive of Twin Peaks. We are going into the second episode of season 3, the Showtime miniseries, The Return. If you don't watch live with us, you kind of need to have your own copy to listen to our commentary and watch along with us. But if you watch live with us, you can just click on that Cosme link pinned to the top, and you can literally watch along with us, and we will talk about it. I am trying to not get ahead of where we are because Deleted Scenes is watching this for the first time. I don't want to give away any spoilers. But after we get through season 3, believe me, we will get into a deep dive of the weird-ass lore of David Lynch and season 3 of Twin Peaks. There's a lot of meatiness to get into there. So that's on Tuesday. That's Tuesday. Netter, what have we got coming up on Netter's Network over the next week?
On Netter's Network, let's see, so it's Thursday, so that will be Thursday.
No, Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
I forgot what day of the week it was.
We have drifted into Saturday, actually.
Yeah. Well, you did give me alcoholic beverage today, so I forgot what
I
day
did.
it is. Plus, I had the last 2 days off, so, you know. Okay, so
She's
Saturday.
lost track of what day it is.
Yes, I don't know what day it is. So Thursday. Saturday, we'll be watching Dragon Slayer. And isn't that from the 70s?
No. That's
90s?
I want to say 90s. Let me say.
I don't put years next to my movies, so.
You should. You really should, so we can keep
Yes,
track.
but Dragon Slayer will be our movie on Saturday.
1981.
Cool.
Yeah, so tonight was Dragonheart over on Big Al's channel, which is a kind of thematic lead into tomorrow night, 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Netter's Network, Dragon Slayer. Absolutely, that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, Netter's with us on Tuesday for Twin Peaks. Thursday, what do you got?
Thursday, my special guest will be Ryan Roger Athay, joining us from across the pond.
Yep. Nick, has Ryan Roger Athay done a video for you about you being a rising star? That doesn't sound familiar to you?
No.
I will have to, if I don't, Netter, because you're more sober than I am, you will remember, tell Ryan that he should be doing a rising star for Beyond the Hub podcast. His whole shtick is he just does videos about every single YouTuber that he enjoys. And he says,
cool.
This person is a rising star and this is why. And he goes into all the reasons he likes the channel.
Well, what he generally will do is kind of read your channel synopsis.
In fairness, yeah, he'll go and he'll check out what you have on your channel, and he takes suggestions, and he'll watch some of your content, and he's got it's formulaic. He's got a script, and he changes it for the person he's doing, but he is a promotion channel, and he's, let's face it, that in and of itself makes him good people, right?
Yeah.
So I became aware of him when he did one of me, and I'm like, why is this YouTuber doing a video about me and tagging me in it? And I went and checked it out, and I was so I guess the only way I could say it, I was so honored,
Yeah,
right?
that's cool.
And it's like, okay, he's basically saying the same thing about me he says about everything, but man, he's promoting me, and I don't know why. He must like me. He's awesome. So we become friends since then. So yeah, Ryan Roger Athay. Let's make sure he does a rising star for Beyond the Hub podcast, and we'll be talking to him on Thursday on Netter's Network.
Yes,
That brings us around to next Friday. Boomer, we don't have a... Oh, yes, we do. We have a tentative plan for next Friday. We're going to be talking cryptids with Big Al Presents. Because Big Al is like big on the cryptids. And Nick, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're available next week and you want in on this, we'd love to have you back. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to be talking cryptids. I don't know what specific cryptids we'll be talking about. I am sure with Big Al on the channel, we will be talking Bigfoot. That one is a fair dinkum, right? Because that is, I know that is Big Al's favorite cryptid. Let's face it, that's probably the most popular cryptid. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, I am probably going to share old person perspective on cryptids because I'm going to be referencing Leonard Nimoy and In Search Of back in the 70s. Those of you that remember that. Nick, have you ever heard of that show? In Search Of? In Search Of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy.
I think briefly, but I've never actually seen an episode.
Yeah.
I got to write this down
I
too.
wish
Now.
I
All
could-
these shows I got to see now.
This is a reference. Yeah, check it out. There is this. So it covers a lot of the same spiritual ground you do with the cryptids and the urban legends and the, aliens and ghosts and all that kind of stuff. Hosted by Leonard Nimoy. And it had this 70s spookiness. That's the only way I could describe it. And I loved the hell out of this show, but it kind of scared me a little bit. In a good way, you know? I've even done a promo for Age of Boomers Geeky Geezers that directly... Done exactly in the style of the opening of In Search Of. Definitely worth looking into. Obviously, this is from the 70s, so a lot of the stuff that it covered has either been debunked since then or is still kind of outstanding. But it's in your wheelhouse, right up there with Art Bell and a lot of other, the Y-Files and type of stuff. You might want to look into it. If for no other reason, just for the fun of it.
Absolutely.
It's and again, hosted by Leonard Nimoy. That voice of his as a narrator. Oh my gosh! And Boomer, wasn't there a show you were talking about that Shatner did that was like that?
I told you, it's the unexplained. It's what he does now. Yeah, I think it's sort of almost like a spiritual successor in a way. Yeah.
There you go. So that is the week ahead of us. I suppose the one thing I didn't mention is on Thursdays, right after Netter's Network, get over to Deleted Scenes channel for the weekend update, and he'll tell you what he's doing throughout the weekend. So there we go. Nick, any last thoughts, any last words as we wrap up?
No, just thank you so much for having me. I love it.
Dude, you're thanking us for crying out loud. I want to thank you. I feel like you are the big draw here. I super appreciate you being here, and I really feel like you. Well, not to get into numbers, but I feel like you're such a big channel and one. Look, this happens. This happens in the YouTube sphere, right? We tend to watch these channels that we enjoy. We become fans. I kind of fanboy a little bit about you and Brandon, and it's like, dude, it's like you're so casual coming on my channel, and it's like I gotta remember these are real people. These are cool people that are just like. They're okay. They're not big celebrities. Yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, no, they're not. Yeah, they are. So this is what I do every time I have a guest on my channel. So thank you so much for being here.
No problem at all.
Super appreciate it. Boomer, Have I missed anything? You are my designated driver. It's your job to let me know.
Did you
when I'm
do
too
the
drunk.
Saturday movies? This what's on tomorrow, and did you do the Saturday?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I think
Saturday night on Netter's
And
Network.
what about Netter's
Dragons.
Network's Thursday things?
Thursday things
Okay,
is
so that's all. I think you're all
right
taken
around
care
there.
of then.
Yep, we're good. We are.
Oh yeah,
good. Thank
that's
you.
great. Okay.
Netter, you want to take us out?
I could do that. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well good and fun. But it's so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. Hi, Sashi, if you're still here.
Hey, Sashi. From
feels
Malaysia,
like
yeah.
Yes. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. Pass the popcorn?
Right.
And you guys, you know you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much.
You do.
You can be anywhere right now, and you're here with us for 3 hours, according to the
For
time
whatever
I'm looking
reason,
at.
thank you.
You know, not only are you encouraging us, but you're encouraging our guests, you're encouraging each other in the chat. I love seeing you guys in each of our streams. You know, it's just so wonderful to see our family. So thank you for being our family. Thank you for just being a part of our lives. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Everyone on the panel, hang out with me for about 2 minutes while I do the closing credits. I'll see you on the other side so we can say our proper goodbyes. Everyone else, thank you all. You guys really, Curtis Shelby, your super chat means the world to me. You guys that are members, you guys financially contribute to this channel, giving me an excuse to tell Netter, hey, look, I'm actually making money, so my time isn't wasted, right? So, guys, thank you so much. I hope to see you on the next one. Take care. God bless.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.